Your Majesty comes here. Could it be that you have an old friend? Chun Sansi didn't speak, just walked deeper into the village. Upon seeing a fence at the corner of the village still intact, he felt slightly relieved. Is it Master Pingen? Before he could enter, a weak female voice suddenly sounded from behind. Looking closely, it was a pale-faced, slender woman. Clang! The half-drawn sword of Sima Yao was pushed back by Chun Sansi, who said solemnly, "How did you recognize me?" The woman gave a wry smile. "Apart from you, no one else would come to our house. You are." Chun Sansi looked at her, clearly in a critical condition. "Do you need my help?" The spiritual pills of cultivators cannot be consumed by ordinary people, as they contain spiritual grain and other energy-rich spirit plants which mortal bodies cannot digest. But at the very least, some supplemental medicine for the lowest-level martial artists might be found, although considering the severity of her condition, it might not be helpful. No need. Unexpectedly, the woman refused nervously, then brought over a bamboo basket. "Master Pingen, please hand these gold and silver supplies to my grandparents." After speaking, she didn't wait for a response and hurriedly left the village with the help of a wooden stick as a crutch. Chun Sansi could only comply, carrying the bamboo basket into the fenced garden, knocking on the wooden door, and meeting the now much older couple, Old Man Li and his wife. The girl came. Old Man Li looked at the items in the bamboo basket and quickly stood up to look outside. She left. Chun Sansi couldn't bear to tell them the truth that the woman's life was nearing its end. After a brief exchange, he inquired about the village's situation. "Alas, who knows?" Old Manly sighed. That night, first the city's immortal master came to select women. Then someone attacked them, and then a third group arrived. Finally, it was the court's demon suppression department. Altogether, several groups came one after another, and it's hard to tell who was who. Ultimately, those who could fly and tunnel through the earth would become hostile and kill at the slightest displeasure. Several groups. Chun Sansi pondered. Could it really be unrelated to the demon-slaying sect? Whether true or false, further observation is needed. The strongest feeling he has now is chaos, total disorder. It's probably not just Beiyang, but the entire sky-water continent. The whole cultivation world is like this, smoky and wretched, with the people living in misery. Chun Sansi bid farewell to Old Man Li. He resolved that after finishing his current tasks, he would ask Old Man Li and his wife if they would agree to be relocated to the eastern continent to enjoy their twilight years. As for where Li Pingen had run off to over the years, he had no idea. Leaving Small Stone Village, Chun Sansi and Sima Yao met up with Zhang Shun, who was gathering information as scheduled. Under his guidance, the three quickly arrived at the location of the Ascension Gathering. The so-called Ascension Gathering is an arena where loose cultivators compete for the Foundation Establishment Pill, typically held in all regions of the sky-water continent. In the recent days, the Ascension Gathering in Beiyang has reached a fever pitch, with at least 2 late-stage Foundation Establishment cultivators severely injured or killed almost daily. The arena is set at the summit of a mountain peak. Those responsible for maintaining order are elders drawn from various families and disciples of the Shengyun sect. However, family members and sect disciples themselves are not allowed to participate in the Ascension Gathering, as it is specifically meant for loose cultivators. Even so, the scene of thousands of loose cultivators vying for 1 or 2 Foundation Establishment pills is extremely bloody. Brother Kui, the immortal path is elusive, and there is only a slim chance of survival in this world. Meeting on the arena today, don't blame me for being merciless. Brother Zhao, I want the Foundation Establishment pill, but I don't wish to break the brotherly bond between us. Let's stop when it's appropriate, shall we? Enough idle talk. Let's decide the victor and determine life and death. On the arena, the 2 loose cultivators who drew lots to fight were clearly once brothers, but once they started fighting, they quickly turned ruthless. In the end, ironically, the cultivator who initially claimed he wanted to determine life and death hesitated at the last moment, while the one who proposed stopping when appropriate struck mercilessly, seizing the opportunity to kill with a single blow. This is unavoidable. Sima Yao sighed. The best spirit veins and resources have long been occupied by families and sects. Loose cultivators, no matter how talented, mostly end up working for them. Actually, these loose cultivators are wrong. Zhang Shun said, they shouldn't be killing each other. They should unite and rise up together. How difficult that is. Sima Yao said wryly, in the mortal world, martial artists still suppress any uprisings. To succeed, they need the help of a sect. In the cultivation world, even if a few loose cultivators become powerful, they only care about pursuing their own immortality and won't bother with the lives of others. Alas, in the end, we shouldn't think about the Ascension gathering anymore. Zhang Shun continued, the court's resources can only be accessed from the 9 Nether Forbidden Land. I found out the time it opens about half a year later. By then, as usual, everyone will be able to participate. What's the situation in Dusk Valley? Chen Sansi asked. Dusk Valley is not looking good. Zhang Shun seriously said, in recent years, the Bai family has faced increasing isolation. Anyone from the Bai family is not allowed into any of the workshops of the 7 major families, and ordinary loose cultivators are no longer allowed to cooperate with them, under suspicion of collusion with demon cultivators. 6 months ago, the Bai family even had a conflict with the Zhu family, accidentally leading to a death. Now they're almost on the verge of open war. The Shengyun sect doesn't concern themselves? If Chen Sansi recalls correctly, the Shengyun sect is the manager of most of the Beiyang region. They won't concern themselves. Sima Yao remarked blandly. Back then, the Shengyun sect helped Emperor Longqing of the previous dynasty in the war. Several surrounding families all sent people to assist, except the Bai family who wanted to remain isolated. And generally, these kinds of disputes beneath the surface always depend on who has deeper connections within the sect, and that person is right. The Li family, Zhu family, and those families have many disciples within the Shengyun sect. But the Shengyun sect doesn't teach martial arts, so naturally they have no ties with the Bai family. Not helping the several families to deal with the Bai family is already showing them face. Let's go to Dusk Valley, Chen Sansi ordered. There is still some time before the 9 Nether Forbidden Grounds open. He still needs to find a way to exchange for some resources to enhance his power somewhat. Moreover, given the current circumstances, the Bai family, which is isolated by the entire Beiyang region, is undoubtedly a natural ally of the Great Han. They might be of help in dealing with Daisfang City in the future. The 3 didn't continue to stay and observe, but silently left the ascension ceremony. At the foot of the mountain, Chen Sansi unexpectedly encountered an old acquaintance, Shengyun sect disciple Wang Jun. If not for the chance encounter today, Chen Sansi would have almost forgotten this guy's existence. During the war, as they were fighting, this fellow just disappeared. Unexpectedly, upon seeing him again, he's already a mid-stage foundation establishment cultivator, even a small realm higher than his own immortal path. The highest authority for the ascension ceremony is the Shengyun sect. Wang Jun stood at the mountain gate, seemingly maintaining order. Unlike most sect disciples who exhibit pride when facing loose cultivators, he offered each passerby a smile, appearing very amicable. On Wang Jun's shoulder stood an ugly monstrous bird. It was precisely this monstrous bird that caused the blue bird inside Chen Sansi's storage bag to be somewhat restless. Revenge. He could sense his spiritual pet's thoughts. A dozen years ago, the blue bird seemed to have had some conflict with this cold iron bird outside Chentang Prefecture, and for the past 10 years it had thought about it day and night. Unexpectedly, they were truly able to meet again. Behave, now's not the time. Chen Sansi calmed the blue bird, nodded in acknowledgement to Wang Jun who had sent over a look, then turned without looking back and quickened his pace to leave. Wang Jun watched the departing back without thinking anything amiss, merely watching the coming and going passers-by. Senior Brother Wang. A fellow sect disciple approached. The elder has ordered you, after supervising the ascension ceremony, to stay at Daisfang City and assist in breaking the seal. Me? Wang Jun's expression turned serious. After the ascension ceremony, I plan to return to the sect for seclusion. No way, Senior Brother Wang. The fellow sect member said. The elder specifically named you. Wang Jun frowned. A dozen years ago, he had managed to evade that great war, retreating into the Shangyun sect's mountain gate, wholeheartedly focusing on foundation establishment. Upon hearing the situation after coming out of seclusion, indeed, no one returned alive. For the past 10 years, he has stayed low, avoiding all disputes, recently breaking through to mid-stage foundation establishment, only to be dragged here by the sect. This affair seems to be larger. The sect intends to break the seal at all costs. Moreover, Wang Jun noted the recent undercurrents in Beiyang. Unable to fully predict how much turmoil and danger lies ahead, he started pondering in his mind, searching for a suitable reason to leave Beiyang. Lost in thought, the cold iron bird on Wang Jun's shoulder suddenly crowed, then shot straight into the sky, returning with a bird in its claws a few breaths later, standing by the roadside, beginning to feast. This should have been a normal fierce bird hunt. Yet Wang Jun was outraged. Beast! I've long told you, without my permission, do not hunt freely outside. What if you capture another senior's spiritual pet? If you cause trouble again, I will personally kill you. Dusk Valley. Before even reaching the mountain gate, one can sense the recent dire situation. Essentially, starting from 20 miles away, members of the Bai family are patrolling. Stop! Bai drew out 2 short swords from his waist, vigilantly sizing up the 3 unfamiliar faces, and questioned, Where are you 2 Taoists from, and what is your purpose? Taoist Xiao Bai. Chan Sansi said indifferently. The pills you consume are all crafted by me. Your little sister is considered half my disciple. Do we have to be so distant? Alchemy, little sister. Bai scrutinized the man in front of him with suspicion and surprise. Senior Xiao? Is it really you back? It's me, Chen Sansi admitted openly. In the current circumstances, if one came to Dusk Valley as a stranger, they probably wouldn't be able to enter the gate, let alone talk of cooperation. Conversely, Xiao Feng killed Li family's Mr. Wu and took the foundation establishment pill. An enemy of the workshop, a wanted man by Northern Yongdao, a natural ally. Moreover, Xiao Feng is different from Chan Sansi. Chun Sansi involves the ancestor vein, likely drawing in the Golden Core Elders, but Xiao Feng is just a Li family cultivator and a foundation establishment pill, which at most would just infuriate the Li family. Relatively speaking, the identity of Xiao Feng is most suitable for the current situation in Northern Yongdao. Truly Senior Xiao? Bai was still somewhat incredulous. These few years. Never mind. Senior, please wait a moment. I'll go report immediately. He turned and entered the mountain gate. Roughly the time of a cup of tea later, he returned. Senior Xiao, please enter. The family head and others are discussing matters at Lakeview Tower. Please proceed to meet them. All right. Chun Sansi followed him into the valley. Lakeview Tower on the top floor. The high-ranking members of the Bai family were all gathered there. The elderly Bai family ancestor sat in a Taisher chair, while the heads of the 7 branches of the Bai family were lined up on either side. They collectively directed scrutinizing gazes at the 3 strangers entering the hall and exchanged glances with each other, seemingly communicating silently. Mr. Xiao, it's been a while. Third Master Bai Linshuan stood up and cupped his fists, saying, I didn't expect that you're not only an alchemist but a martial artist in the true power realm. Now you've returned, you must have established your foundation. Congratulations. Over 2 years ago, they suddenly received news that loose cultivator Xiaofeng, who had been cooperating with Dusk Valley, abruptly killed people at Little Bamboo Peak, snatched a foundation establishment pill and fled, shocking them for quite a while. Hee. Family head by Liangbi spoke. Just don't understand. Taoist Xiao disappeared for years, and now suddenly returns. What's the reason? Simply seeking cooperation. Chun Sansi replied, To be honest, I plan to stay in northern Yongdao for a period of time. Thus, I want to borrow a cave mansion in Dusk Valley to cultivate. If I can exchange through alchemy like before, that would be best. According to the information gathered from his sources, after his departure, the Bai family never had stable cooperation with alchemists. either coveting Medicine Valley or spies from other families. Basically, no one could remain for over 2 months. Moreover, in the current isolated state, the Bai family needed to travel far to purchase elixir pills from other paths. Precisely during a shortage of elixir pills. Cooperation can certainly be arranged. The one-armed elder sitting in the Taisher chair spoke in a quiet tone. But before that, I have a few questions I'd like to ask you, sir. Chun Sansi responded calmly. Elder Bai, feel free to speak. You're somewhat familiar with the current situation in northern Yongdao. Bai Shifeng's voice was aged and raspy. Taoist, coming to our Bai family at such a time. Aren't you afraid to become the target of everyone? Just what is your identity, sir? My identity is simple, a friend of the Bai family, mortal enemy of the Li family. My main reason for returning is to help the Bai family deal with the Li family. Chun Sansi answered calmly. Before avenging my clansmen by killing all the Li family, I will never leave. Elder Bai can rest assured about this. His words were partially true and partially false. The matter concerning the ceiling lies right atop the main peak of the Li family. Thus, to solve the issue, bypassing the Li family is impossible. Bai Shifeng fell into deep thought. In these cultivation families standing for hundreds of years, it's common for descendants of enemies to return seeking revenge. Especially since Li Xuanan's death cannot be feigned. Thus, at least in this regard, they had no need for suspicion. All right then. Finally, Bai Shifeng decided, from today, Taoist Xiaofeng is an ally of our Dusk Valley. Later, I will arrange for you a second-tier cave mansion. Taoist will continue to be responsible for alchemy as before, and can put forth any other requests. I'll try to accommodate them as much as possible. Just one harsh word beforehand. Even though Taoist Xiao wishes to seek vengeance on the Li family, and I'm willing to cooperate, but based on the current situation, I'm afraid our Bai family might not even be able to protect ourselves. Taoist Xiao, if you stay long-term, you may face the same fate as us, a catastrophic disaster. I came to discuss strategies. Chun Sansi sat on the chair brought by the other party and tentatively said, not long ago, I heard that the Shangyun sect has Golden Core elders stationed at the Li family, and encountered many demon suppression guards along the way. Is it related to this? The Shangyun sect won't make a move against our Bai family, at least not for the time being. Bai Liangbi informed, their arrival is related to the sealing in the eastern continent, planning to pay a significant cost to destroy the heaven and earth seal. For this reason, all 7 families of northern Yongdao, including ours, must relocate within a 5-year deadline. Move away. Chun Sansi inquired further. Does family head Bai mean that the sealing matter will eventually implicate the entire Beiyang Dao? Who knows what they're up to? Bai Liangbi replied awkwardly. But even without this matter, we were already planning how to leave this place, as the mortal dynasty of the eastern continent might face calamity in just a few years. Indeed, Bai family's 7th elder empathized. During the early days of the Ancestor Vein War, the Chen family slaughtered the Tianshui cultivators mercilessly, thus forming an endless blood feud. In recent years, the Han dynasty was established, and it's said that Chun Lei even sent a war proclamation to Tianshui, claiming himself as the Heavenly Court, while calling the Tianshui upper sects bandits. The various upper sects have resented this to the core, just waiting to break the shell and crush them to powder. Speaking of which, Bai family's 4th elder interjected. It's fortunate we didn't listen to Old Tu in those early years, when he said we might as well go to the eastern continent to lay low. If we had gone, we would all be awaiting death together. Ahem. Bai Liangbi cleared his throat, gesturing for silence. Servants. The Bai family ancestor called over 2 juniors. Take good care of Taoist Xiao. His presence in Dusk Valley is to be kept secret and not disclosed to outsiders. Finishing his words, he picked up the tea cup beside him. Then I will take my leave now. Chun Sansi turned and left. After he departed, the atmosphere in the hall became solemn once again. Ancestor. Bai Liangbi spoke up. Is it really wise to keep him in the valley? It's true he holds grudges against the Li family, but who knows if he's here for Medicine Valley? I don't think so. Bai Linshuan interjected. Taoist Xiao has been working with us not for just today. He's always been very proper, and he probably doesn't know the inside story of this matter. We do lack an alchemist. There's probably no one more suitable than Taoist Xiao. Just take precautions and not let him approach Medicine Valley. Additionally, if it ever comes to a desperate point, he would be a strong force, being at the early stage foundation establishment and true power middle stage. Let him stay in the valley for now. The one-armed elder ended the topic, then asked, "How are the talks going with the demon suppression department and the Li family?" "Humph." Bai Liangbi slapped the table heavily. "I get furious just mentioning this. That Zhao Laoba is simply insatiable. Agreeing to give them half every year wasn't enough. They want us to hand over everything. They're set on exterminating us by family." "Alas!" By family's fourth elder gritted his teeth. "Back then, if it weren't for the treacherous Psycho family, our Bai family would have already reached the golden body realm, or even higher martial arts realm. We wouldn't be trapped in Beiyang Dao, suffering these humiliations. If truly pushed, we should leak the information and let none survive." "Fourth brother, what you said is pointless." Bai Linshu inside. "Our Bai family has weathered so many storms over the years. How can we sever the ancestral legacy? Not agreeing is merely a matter of less pain. Bullying our Bai family for lack of successors." The one-armed elder scanned the Bai family's 7 sons with disappointment, saying, "Our Bai family has such naturally favorable conditions. If only you cultivated more diligently, producing just 2 more with true power perfection. Even if the secret got out, we wouldn't find ourselves at the brink of life and death. Ancestor, please calm your anger." Everyone stood up. "It's us children who are incompetent, dragging down our family's future." "Liangbi." The one-armed elder gave a meaningful glance to the current family head, speaking earnestly. "I don't have much time left. After I'm gone, you as the family head must shoulder the heavy responsibility of the Bai family." With his head lowered and eyes reddened, Bai Liangbi said slowly, "Rest assured, ancestor, Liangbi knows what to do. And you, Lin Xuan." The one-armed elder lightly coughed twice. "Your qualifications are passable. Don't be negligent in the future. Visit places like the Illusion Sound Pavilion less often, which harm one's chi blood. In at most 8 years, you can reach true power perfection. The matter with the Psycho family indeed led to our Bai family having no proper succession, resulting in our current predicament. It's not entirely your fault either. Do your best. If it really doesn't work out, you'll have to hand things over to Master Yuling, seeking shelter under the Qingshu upper sect." He used his only arm to support himself up from the table and slowly stood, disappearing behind the screen under the respectful gazes of his descendants. "Senior Xiao." Bai Inch pointed to a residence behind the pool in front. "This is my 6th uncle's cave mansion. Inside there's a spirit gathering array, reaching 2nd-tier spirit vein, which will let Senior Xiao temporarily reside in. Dusk Valley is different from Daysfang City, with even fewer areas capable of creating pseudo-2nd-tier spirit veins, making it all the more precious and never available for lease. After settling in, Chan Sansi ordered Sima Yao and Zhang Shun to continue gathering news about the 9 Nether Forbidden Land, while he used the 2nd-tier spirit vein to cultivate martial arts. He had just succeeded in foundation establishment, and it would probably take some time to reach the mid-stage foundation establishment. In comparison, the progress of the Dragon Scripture would obviously be faster. The previous accumulation, along with several days of seclusion, Chun Sansi soon reached the threshold of advancement again. On the surface of his body, complex flowing light began to circulate until it merged and transformed into 9-colored auspicious light, and a shrine awakened with it. Cultivation technique. Dragon Scripture. True power middle stage. Progress. 251 to 500. The spirit in his body, named Shou Hobwa, styled as Dao Su, 7 inches and 1 foot tall, wearing 9-colored clothes, the lower part of the 8 scenic gods, 4 of which are opened. Chun Sansi estimated that to break through to the true power late stage, even with a 2nd-tier spirit vein, it would still take several years. With the help of top-grade heavenly materials or elixir pills, the time might be shortened a bit. 5 years. The Bai family members had mentioned before that Shengyun's sect required them to move in 5 years, indicating that even if something big were to happen, it would be after 5 years, leaving plenty of time in the meantime. If the martial arts realm is elevated to the true power late stage, and the immortal path realm is raised to the mid-stage foundation establishment, there would be no need to worry about others in Beiyangdao except for Golden Core cultivators. Golden Core is also a hassle. If things really don't work out, Chun Sansi thought of the Qingshu sect. His master's token left behind at the time said that if he couldn't find the subsequent martial arts inheritance, he could go to Qingshu sect. Presumably, the relationship wouldn't be too bad. Whether it would work or not could only be known at the time. All he could do was to do his best to improve his cultivation. Leaving the cave mansion, Chun Sansi found that the area around the fire veins had become very desolate, and there were few outside cultivators at the usual rental spots. It was evident that the Bai family was indeed severely isolated. He went into the alchemy room, where Bai Chaotong had been waiting for quite some time. This girl, who had not been seen for nearly 3 years, had transformed into a graceful young woman, but her demeanor was still the same as before, holding a box cautiously. "Shall we start?" Chun Sansi asked. "Yes, yes." Bai Chaotong nodded, just about to blindfold him, when the stone gate of the alchemy room suddenly opened with a hum, and a figure strode in. The newcomer was none other than the Bai family master, Bai Liangbi. He was also holding a box specifically for storing medicinal materials and said, "Tonger, you should leave. I will assist friend Xiao in refining this batch of elixir pills." "All right." Bai Chaotong hesitated for a moment, then left with the box in her arms. "Friend Xiao." Bai Liangbi made a gesture of invitation. "Let's begin." The alchemy process began. The initial steps were nothing more than connecting to the fire veins, heating the spirit river water, and adding spiritual grain. When the time was right, medicinal materials would be added. During this process, Chun Sansi would blindfold his sight, allowing the other to guide him and control the heat to ensure the Bai family's pill recipe would not be leaked. This time, 2 furnaces were being refined, and one of them seemed to have unusual materials, making it extremely difficult to control and requiring a long period of tempering to extract the essence. After it ended, Chun Sansi was able to uncover his eyes. "Thank you, Taoist friend." Bai Liangbi handed an elixir pill to his hand. "My Bai family will never treat any friend unfairly. This mixed profound pill will greatly benefit your martial arts realm advancement. You should accept it." Chun Sansi took the elixir pill, and after checking that there was no problem, he saw the other person gathering several other crimson elixir pills. He analyzed their components, slightly surprised. Generally speaking, most materials for second-tier elixirs, excluding the foundation establishment pill, are composed of ingredients that are between 200 and 500 years old. But those in the other person's hands, they contained materials that were all over 1,000 years old. Spirit plants. In the cultivation world, they are a valuable resource not inferior to spiritual energy. Consider the foundation establishment pill. Without this pill, no matter how good one's talent is, the impurity of the nature's spiritual energy would prevent the transformation of the flesh, resulting in an inability to build a foundation. The value of spirit plants is often related to whether they can be cultivated, their quantity, and their age of growth. Generally speaking, the older the age, the more nature's spiritual energy a spirit plant absorbs, similar to the concept that the older a cultivator or spiritual beast, the higher their realm. Thus, the medicinal effect is better. For normal second-tier elixirs, the main materials typically require 200 to 500 years, while the auxiliary materials need only several decades. Chun Sansi, through recognized medicine, identified the elixir in Bai family master's hand as a second-tier elixir known as Fiery Jiao Nourishing Evil Pill, wherein originally requiring only 200 years' worth of 2 main materials were actually 1,000-year-old herbs. No wonder he distinctly sensed something different when refining the elixir. Replacing the main materials of a second-tier elixir with 1,000-year-old herbs surely enhances the elixir's effects considerably, but it also seems somewhat wasteful. After all, 1,000-year herbs are entirely sufficient for refining third-tier elixirs. Such extravagance by the Bai family indeed is considerable, but as a family passed down for hundreds of years, having some foundation is normal. Especially in recent critical times, some resources certainly need to be consumed to enhance strength. However, this fiery Jiao nourishing evil pill is a type of elixir that nourishes evil energy, with effects that are incredibly extreme. It is usually favored by those in the demon sect, although martial cultivators occasionally use it to temper their bodies. Chun Sansi didn't think much further. He simply put away his own elixir. In comparison, the materials for his Mystic Profound pill are much more modest, with the main materials being 300 years old and the auxiliary materials around 20 years old. Of course, this actually is the normal range for a second-tier elixir. Thank you, Taoist Xiao. Bai Liangbi put away the elixir. In the near future, you may have to work hard in the furnace, but do not worry. You will not be treated unfairly. Whatever conditions Taoist might have, feel free to state them. Family head Bai. Chun Sansi was not polite. The materials like undying grass, jingshan fruit, and spirit rhinoceros horn, which can help martial artists open the scenic god. Do you have them? On the court side, these are the most lacking. Even within the Geo Forbidden area, these heavenly materials and earthly treasures rarely appear. Bai Liangbi pondered for a moment. Is it that Taoist Xiao has some juniors needing them? To be honest, my Bai family has maintained its lineage up to now by cultivating the undying grass over many years, which is a basic foundation that all martial art families must possess. But saying too much is useless. I need to see the distribution over recent years. If there's an extra share, I can give Taoist one plant. If that is truly possible, I would be grateful to family head Bai. Chun Sansi cupped his hands. After conversing with him for a few more words in small talk, he returned to his cave mansion. Early the next day, Sima Yao and Zhang Shun hurried back. Your Majesty, Sima Yao said in a deep voice, the Geo Forbidden area will open within the next 6 months, though the exact time may vary slightly. These kinds of forbidden areas are often entangled with heaven and earth laws, so the precise opening time can't be as exact as sunrise and sunset. For this reason, a large number of loose cultivators gather in places like Beiyang Road to wait, ensuring they enter the forbidden area as soon as it opens to gather materials. Send people in. After pondering for a moment, Chun Sansi ordered, deliver my edict. Let Wei Xian and Song Guizhi remain to guard the capital city. They must not leave without permission. Direct Wang Ji, Rong Yanqiu, and all other true power warriors, as well as 20 cultivators above the 5th level of Qi refinement, to enter the Sky-Water continent in batches, and disperse among mortal cities or villages to await the forbidden area's opening and participate in this trial. Subject accepts the order. Zhang Shun said. It is said that the interior of the Geo Forbidden area is vast. Even if Chun Sansi were to enter alone, it would be impossible to gather many resources. It is better to send people in and cast a wide net when the forbidden area opens. Moreover, since the establishment of Skywall City, the vast majority of people have never engaged in combat, only practicing bouts within the sect at most. Without experiencing the bloodshed of battle, no matter how high one's cultivation level is, it's easy to become flustered in unexpected situations. This time, the Geo Forbidden area not only collects resources for the court but also serves as a trial for Skywall City. Through the ordeal, they can make merit-based awards and allocate resources subsequently. It's just a pity. This is ultimately a one-time deal. Whether it's a family or a sect, for a power to last, an ever-flowing supply of resources is essential. It requires not only spirit veins but also spirit land. After all, there can't always be forbidden areas available for external resources. The best method is still self-sufficiency. However, spiritual pearls can only exude spiritual energy for cultivation and cannot transform the earth into spirit soil for planting. Having spent so many years on the Sky-Water continent, Chun Sansi has naturally perused many books and found some heavenly materials and earthly treasures that could potentially resolve this issue, but encountering them depends on luck. After giving his orders, he instructed Zhang Shun to set off on a chosen day, while he disguised himself and led Sima Yao away from Dusk Valley, heading to Daisfang City. Today was the prearranged meeting in the tea house with the demon-slaying sect disciples set with Duan Silu. The ultimate goal of this visit to heavenly water is to resolve the sealing problem. If no solution is found within 5 years, another method must be considered. The Qingshu sect is the last resort, but since my master advised against it, I can only wait and see. How much do you know about the demon-slaying sect? Chen Sansi suddenly asked. Madman. Sima Yao replied succinctly. Madman. Chen Sansi asked, why do you say that? Your Majesty might not be aware. Sima Yao explained eloquently. In the cultivation world, whether a prestigious sect or a wayward faction, there is always a purpose behind their actions. Take the 7 Killing sect for example. They like to slaughter mortals and cultivators for blood sacrifices, the fundamental reason being to enhance their own cultivation. But the demon-slaying sect has no purpose. Their actions seem to not be for any benefit, giving people the impression that they destroy for the sake of destruction. Decades ago, in the far southern part of Sky-Water continent, a spatial relic appeared, said to possibly contain treasures of 3rd or 4th rank, attracting cultivators from all over the continent, regardless of their level, to eagerly gather outside the relic. The result is, just days before the relic was about to open, the demon-slaying sect arrived, causing chaos, and forcefully destroyed the relic entrance. Tracing further back, 100 years ago, they even destroyed one of Sky-Water continent's largest medicine valleys, with significant losses. They gain nothing from these actions, and even suffer casualties themselves. So if they're not mad, what are they? Haha, a bit mad indeed. Chun Sansi remembered a desperate tone from a man named Duan at the black market. However, he approached them firstly for the continuation of the swallowing fire technique, and secondly for the Li family. Since these people want to deal with the Li family, surely they know something about the sealing matters. During this time, he also inquired about the demon-slaying sect from others, and everyone he spoke to was secretive about them. They are not only mad but also extremely vicious. Sima Yao stroked his beard. It is said, within the upper echelons of the demon-slaying sect, there exists an ancient forbidden technique that seizes spirit roots, allowing them to transfer a cultivator's spirit root to a mortal using a special formation, enabling the mortal to cultivate. In the past, it would happen that a saint heir or holy daughter from an upper sect would have their spirit root plundered by a demon cultivator of the demon-slaying sect. These people are undoubtedly malicious. Your Majesty must be extremely cautious when dealing with them. Unknowingly, the two arrived at Daisfang City. Sima Yao stayed at the outskirts of the city, prepared to respond should any incident occur. Chun Sansi headed straight to the tea house. The demon-slaying sect hadn't specified a meeting method, so he just disguised himself in the face seen at the black market, randomly sat down, ordered a cup of tea and waited quietly. Before half a cup of tea had passed, a waiter approached him. Immortal Master, there's someone in the T-shaped private room on the 2nd floor who says they're your friend and invites you up for a chat. 2nd floor private room. The waiter opened the door, and by the window at the flowing tea plate sat 2 figures. One was Duan Silu, the other a Foundation Establishment late-stage cultivator, wearing a dark blue robe, quite handsome. Taoist is here. Duan Silu stood up. Let me introduce. This is Shangguan Siheng, the squad leader of the demon-slaying sect in Beiyang. Greetings, Taoist. Shangguan Siheng rose and cupped his hands. Xiao Feng, Chen Sansi said lightly. Oh, Shangguan Siheng, slightly surprised, said, so it's Taoist Xiao, a pleasure to meet you. I believe we can certainly become like-minded friends. Beyond the Foundation Establishment late stage is the Golden Core Elder status, which is unarguably high in the cultivation world. But this person in front seems to carry no air. Taoist Shangguan. Chan Sansi sat down, straightforwardly saying, shall we directly discuss how to cooperate, so you are willing to hand over the swallowing fire technique to me? Taoist Xiao is an enemy of the Li family, thus my friend, just a cultivation technique, no conditions needed. Shangguan Siheng directly slapped a jade scroll on the table. I gift it to you now. Chan Sansi picked up the jade scroll, infused spiritual power to investigate, confirmed the technique was safe, and couldn't help but jest, Taoist, you are indeed generous. To be honest, my current endeavor at Daysfang City is likely a life or death situation. What does the demon-slaying sect intend? Does Taoist know? Shangguan Siheng personally poured tea for the other. What Xingyun sect is planning on the Li family's territory? Chun Sansi lifted his teacup. I'd like to hear the details. Sealing. Shangguan Siheng spoke with emphasis. Between Sky Water and the eastern continent, there is a seal, and this Taoist Shao should have heard of it. Whether it's a talisman or an array formation, ultimately, it's all about deciphering and applying the heaven and earth laws. By following the heavenly Tao, naturally, there are vulnerabilities. This seal undergoes minor fluctuations once every 50 years, and major fluctuations once every 200 years. The next major fluctuation is in 5 years. Over a decade ago, outside Daysfang City, a breach in the seal occurred. It was repaired by the senior Gue Qi, barely maintaining the seal, though some hidden dangers were left behind. This time, the people from Shangyun's sect planned to leverage the loosening of the restriction every 200 years, coupled with the existing fissures in the area, to tear open a permanent breach in the seal. And their specific method is to use ancient remnant treasures to set up an array, using the spiritual power of the spirit veins of Beiyang Dao as their power source, to break it at the moment of the restrictions loosening in 5 years. Chun Sansi digested the information. So that's how it is. Therefore, Shangguan Siheng continued, our demon-slaying sect plans to take action in 5 years, first destroying the array formation, and then extinguishing the Li family. Why? Chun Sansi couldn't understand why their objectives aligned so closely. Breaking the seal of the eastern continent doesn't seem to have much to do with the demon-slaying sect, does it? How can it not be related? Shangguan Siheng paused and explained, Taoist, you may not yet know what our demon-slaying sect's teachings are, right? Chun Sansi nodded. Indeed, I do not know. The answer is in the question itself. Shangguan Siheng said seriously, Demon, slay immortals. Exactly. Duan Silu agreed. The pursuit of immortality inherently goes against the heavens. The so-called Tao follows nature. Birth, aging, sickness, and death should be the norm. Yet some seek immortality, sullying the world with mayhem. Our demon-slaying sect's highest teaching is that no one is allowed to practice cultivation in this world. Chun Sansi did not continue listening to their teachings but directly asked, in this matter, my intentions align with your sect. In 5 years I will assist with all my might. I'm just unaware of how many people the demon-slaying sect has in Beiyang Dao. Discussing this, he felt quite relieved. Since the demon-slaying sect is a well-known entity, the assumption would be that it has significant power, potentially making the seal matter easily resolvable. However, Shangguan Siheng gestured and said emphatically, a full 8. If you include the Taoist, it would be 9. 9. Chun Sansi pondered whether that was too few, given the substantial numbers of the Li family and Demon Suppression Department, and asked, are there Golden Core elders or anyone above Golden Core involved in this matter? None. Duan Silu calculated, Squad Leader Shangguan is the highest level cultivator of our demon-slaying sect in Beiyang Dao. Among the remaining 7 people, there are 2 at Foundation Establishment, 2 at the late stage of Qi refining, and 3 at the Qi refining middle stage. Question mark. Chun Sansi's heart sank. It seems this demon-slaying sect is not only somewhat mad but also quite unreliable. 8 people against the entire Beiyang Dao. He reminded, Taoist Shangguan, within Daysfang City, there is a Golden Core cultivator stationed, and with just a few of us, it might be rather difficult, wouldn't it? That statement is incorrect. Shangguan Siheng stated solemnly, Taoist Shao, we cultivators, simply because of the word, difficult, do we not act? Be that as it may, Chun Sansi said. But we can't just go sending ourselves to death, can we? This is akin to marching to war. If direct confrontation is impossible, then one must find another method. Why must one always crash into the southern wall? Tindi. Shangguan Siheng slammed the table. I'm not afraid. Goodbye. Chun Sansi shook his head. unable to continue the conversation. Boom! At that moment, a loud noise erupted from outside, and subsequently, the entire Fong city began to tremble violently. Boom! With a loud noise, the entire tea house shook violently. Tea in the cups spilled over, and tables and chairs almost toppled. What's going on? Duan Silu abruptly stood up. Shangguan Siheng quickly checked the nearby situation as well. It's not aimed at us. Chun Sansi glanced around, and using his chi observation skill, did not detect any danger and reassured. No need to be overly tense. The tremors subsided after about a dozen breaths, and the commotion within the workshop ceased as well. Hiss! Duan Silu opened the window and looked outside. What's going on? Squad leader, fellow Taoist Xiao. You two continue your discussion. I'll go and investigate. Shangguan Siheng quickly calmed down as well. Fellow Taoist Xiao, regarding what you mentioned earlier, what are your thoughts? Your sect's courage is commendable, but I fear your strategy is lacking. Chun Sansi shook his head and said, if you plan to go head-to-head without a plan, I'm afraid I won't be able to accompany you. Sigh. Shangguan Siheng sighed lightly. To be honest, the demon-slaying sect near Beiyangdao truly lacks manpower, not to mention high realm seniors. But we can't just watch Shangyun's sect break the seal and pollute the few remaining pure lands. Right? Chun Sansi asked, Eastern continent, in your eyes, is a pure land? Of course. Shangguan Siheng confidently said, without spirit veins, mortals don't need to plant spiritual grain. Isn't that a pure land? Like the Eastern continent, where the heavenly Tao is orderly, and all things cycle. That is the true law. If that is the case, Chun Sansi said, have you ever thought of collaborating with the Great Han of the Eastern continent? Naturally, we've thought about it. Although the Great Han Emperor's realm is not high, if he can come to help, it's still a form of power. Shangguan Siheng lamented. But without the Jade Token, the transmission arrays in each area are controlled by those people. We really have no way out. If fellow Taoist truly has this intention, I can help communicate. Chun Sansi did not reveal his true identity because the demon-slaying sect seemed somewhat unreliable. He was worried they might act impulsively, exposing themselves and causing a major disaster. Fellow Taoist Xiao actually has contact with them? Shangguan Siheng nodded. If that's truly the case, that would be wonderful. Including how to attack the main peak of the Great Swamp, I think it can also be discussed with the Great Han rather than acting rashly. Chun Sansi continued, there are still a few years left, so why don't your sect continue gathering intelligence and wait for the right moment? Shangguan Siheng pondered and nodded. What you say makes a lot of sense. By the way, Chun Sansi asked, recently, the entire Beiyangdao has been targeting Dusk Valley. Does fellow Taoist Shangguan know the specific reason inside? I know a bit. Shangguan Siheng nodded. In the Bai family's Medicine Valley, there seems to be some kind of treasure that the Demon Suppression Department and the Li family are extremely covetous of and want to claim for themselves. However, they also don't want Shangyun's sect to find out. So recently, they've been negotiating with the Bai family. As expected, Chun Sansi pondered. This is the flaw. When the internal situation of Beiyangdao is so conflicted, chaos is bound to arise, and chaos means opportunity. If we can bypass Shangyun sect's golden core cultivator, we can solve this problem. Thinking of this, he added, fellow Taoist Shangguan, please investigate closely what exactly is inside Dusk Valley. This might be our chance. It's worth noting that the Bai family is also one of our allies. No problem. While they were discussing, Duan Silu returned from investigating the situation and explained the source of the disturbance earlier. It's the 9 nether forbidden grounds. Duan Silu spoke in a tone that was always tense with a hint of frenzy. At the bottom of Qiushuang Valley, strong waves came from another space. It should be something happening in the 9 nether forbidden grounds. Forbidden grounds? Chun Sansi was intrigued. Could the forbidden grounds have opened early? No, it's just a simple anomaly, Duan Silu informed. However, in the past, when this kind of situation occurred, It was either a great fiend in the forbidden grounds or an emergence of large quantities of treasures. This time, it will probably cause another major commotion. Squad leader, do you want to join in? Let's skip this. We're short of manpower and a battle is coming up soon. Oh, by the way, Shangguan Siheng cast a glance. Fellow Taoist Xiao, interested in participating? Heh. Chan Sansi, who had seen the world, found himself somewhat at a loss for words in front of this group. Why don't you tell me more about it? The task involves just 7 or 8 people, truly keeping them busy. Here's the situation. Shangguan Siheng spoke slowly. About 500 miles from here, there's a city called Ronghua City. It's the property of Shangyun's sect, with many loose cultivators living there. Recently, they've been planning to hold an auction just outside the city, where most people will attend. We, the demon-slaying sect, plan to ambush them once. Chun Sansi patiently asked, "What is the reason?" "Of course, there's a reason." Duan Silu took over the conversation. "In our cultivation world, it's well known that many low-realm cultivators who can't make a name for themselves love to take concubines and enjoy pleasures among mortals. Originally, we had no jurisdiction over it, but recently, a demonic yin-yang power cultivation technique from the demon sect has spread within Ronghua City. It is said to help those with less talent raise their limits, driving many to practice it secretly. In half a year, over 1,000 mortal women have already died from cultivation, and now it started again. 3 months ago, batches of infants began to disappear. Are you saying that the matters on the bounty order involving Beiyang Dao's loose cultivators? Chan Sansi asked. Cultivating demon technique, even in the Skywater continent, is strictly forbidden by all major sects, and the demon suppression department doesn't care? No matter how much fighting there is in the cultivation world, there are still the most basic bottom lines like this. Damn it! Duan Silu cursed. The mortal women who died from being harvested were bought in a semi-coercive, semi-voluntary way, which is in accordance with the Great Song Law. As for the missing children, it's done by the city lord of Ronghua City, and the demon suppression department turns a blind eye to it. Harvesting women. Chan Sansi suddenly recalled that Sister Ping'an seemed to be a concubine for a loose cultivator in Ronghua City. He finally understood why the last time they met, she was on the verge of death. He hastily got up and left. "I have some matters to attend to, fellow Taoists." "What are you doing?" Shangguan Siheng and the others hadn't even reacted when he had already pushed the door and left. After leaving the area of Daisfang City, Chun Sansi headed straight to Small Stone Village and carefully inquired about Sister Ping'an's whereabouts from Old Man Li and his wife. Then, he immediately went to Ronghua City. Ronghua City is one of the 4 major cities of Beiyang Dao, a private property of the Shangyun sect. From the outside, it looks no different from an ordinary mortal city. Number A, Fenlin Road, Qin Residence. This area has no spiritual energy, but the houses are very luxurious, and only low-level cultivators reside here. Knock, knock. The disguised Chun Sansi stepped forward and gently knocked on the door. Soon after, a mortal butler came out, initially showing a very impatient expression. But when he saw the techniques revealed by the other party, he turned extremely obsequious. "Oh my! It turns out to be an immortal master. You look unfamiliar. What do you need?" "My surname is Lin." Chun Sansi said faintly. "I'm here to see Taoist Qin." "Please wait, immortal master. I'll go and report." The butler hurriedly left. Not long after, a fat cultivator with the smell of alcohol all over him came out, whose cultivation was only at the Qi refining 2nd level. "Who is it?" "I don't know anyone surnamed Lin." Halfway through his words, Qin Tao suddenly couldn't look directly, bending his fat body, his flattery mixed with fear. "It is an honor to have seen you visit my humble abode. What can I do for you?" "I heard. You have hidden many women here?" Chun Sansi walked into the courtyard on his own. "Ah!" How could Qin Tao dare to stop him? Just kept following closely. "They are just lowly powder. Only a few have reasonable looks, senior. You are?" "Don't worry," Chun Sansi said unhurriedly. "Passing by here, I intend to buy some people to be servants. Can you call everyone in your residence over? Yes, yes. Qin Tao hurriedly complied. Soon, more than 20 young women gathered in the yard. But among them, Chun Sansi did not see the person he wanted to see. He asked, "And the rest?" "No, there aren't any more." Qin Tao was somewhat perplexed. "I'm asking you, what about the rest of them?" Chun Sansi repeated. "Is Senior Lin talking about the Li woman with the inferior mixed spirit root?" Qin Tao explained, "It's unfortunate. A few days ago, she died." As he spoke, he already felt something was amiss. This foundation establishment cultivator clearly came looking for a specific person. But that Li woman's family was just a mortal peasant household. How could they be connected to a foundation establishment cultivator? Spirit root. Chun Sansi asked. She had a spirit root? Yes, but it was extremely weak, so weak that reaching Qi refining first level was very difficult. I only discovered it not long ago. As Qin Tao spoke, he directly knelt down, his voice trembling as he explained, "Senior, Li's death has nothing to do with me. On the contrary, I've always been very good to their family. Because of me, their family has always been tax-exempt, and when Li went back to deliver things, I always turned a blind eye. Her death. It's because not long ago, a senior came to visit my home and noticed she had a spirit root. So she was offered to the young city lord to cultivate the recently popular harvesting technique. Senior, it truly has nothing to do with me. Where's the body?" Chun Sansi closed his eyes. "Take me there. Most likely at the mass grave." Qin Tao carefully glanced up, confirming the other had no intention of killing him. Only then he hastily got up. Chun Sansi grabbed him by the neck and soared into the sky. Under the other's guidance, they arrived at a desolate mountain outside the city. Though it was called a mass grave, there was no burial at all, just a scattered heap of women's corpses, with packs of wild dogs gnawing at them, among them the body of Sister Pingan. Boom! Chun Sansi raised his hand and unleashed a sword chi skill, instantly slaying all the wild dogs. "Senior, please. I'm innocent." Qin Tao collapsed to the ground, legs trembling, dark yellow liquid continuously oozing out. "What are you afraid of? Here, eat this." Chun Sansi handed him an elixir pill. Even though Qin Tao knew it was poisonous, he had to obediently swallow it. "I ask you," Chun Sansi said expressionlessly, "the young city lord you mentioned, where does he live?" No, senior," Qin Tao pleaded. "The city has a large number of demon suppression department guards, as well as the city lord and others. If you act rashly in the city, you won't leave alive." "What you say makes sense." Chun Sansi agreed. "All right, think of a way for me." Auction. Qin Tao said, almost crying. "There's an auction of furnace tripods coming up, and due to its clandestine nature, it'll be held outside the city. This auction requires identity verification, and unfamiliar faces can't enter. But I can help you, senior. Although my level is low, I've been mingling in the furnace tripod trade circle for a long time, and I've introduced many seniors. When the time comes, I can vouch for you to get in." "Good. It's settled." Chun Sansi said, "The poison pill you consumed is called the melt blood pill. Once the poison takes effect, your meridians will rot and your organs will dissolve, leading to death. Don't entertain any ill thoughts. The poison is my own creation and only I can cure it. After it's done, I'll give you the antidote." I understand. Qin Tao continued to kowtow. Chun Sansi didn't waste another word. After giving instructions, he flew away on his sword, disappearing into the clouds. He first returned to Daisfang City and informed the demon-slaying sect that he agreed to participate in the following attack, then returned to Dusk Valley. While instructing Zhang Shun to deploy manpower, he also sought to learn more about the auction through the demon-slaying sect. This auction would not only involve people but also many resources that cultivators need would appear, including spiritual beasts, magic artifacts, cultivation techniques, and more, and many of these items couldn't appear in a formal auction. The court lacked resources and could seize some during this opportunity. Chun Sansi opened his storage bag. After over a decade of consumption, he only had slightly more than 500 low-grade spirit stones left. Of course, participating in the auction didn't necessarily mean paying. Since this auction wasn't legitimate in the first place, it was only natural for the court to confiscate these items. In the following month, Zhang Shun, holding a jade token, began mobilizing personnel from the eastern continent. Wang Ji, Rong Yanqiu, and others gradually entered, hiding in various mortal villages and towns in Beiyang. The trial ahead of schedule. Chun Sansi, meanwhile, continued his routine cultivation and elixir refining in Dusk Valley, with his realm constantly climbing, assisted by the second-tier spirit vein. Inside the alchemy workshop, by family head Bai Liangbi appeared once more. Tonger, you should leave now. I'll assist Taoist Xiao with this alchemy session. Boom! The formation connected to the fire veins, and the furnace tripod began to hum. Chun Sansi sensed the medicinal ingredients in the pill furnace, finding the tempering even more challenging than last time. Another millennium-old herb? Could it be that these are millennium-aged herbs again? Chun Sansi didn't show any abnormality, and as usual, he completed the alchemy process. After the pills were done, he confirmed through C-pill and recognized the recipe that the main material for this batch of fiery flood dragon nourishing evil chi pill was indeed over 1,000 years old. 20 pills per batch would require at least 10 millennium-aged herbs. Isn't this extravagance a bit excessive? Medicine Valley? Or perhaps some strange forbidden technique? Chun Sansi had heard of some would attribute cultivation techniques that could practice forbidden skills to accelerate the maturation of spirit plants. But there were limits. Accelerating decades-old herbs to century-old ones was possible, but producing millennium-aged herbs seemed far-fetched. Even if someone could do it, they would be a great power, unlikely to show up here. So it must be Medicine Valley. Considering the attention of forces like the Demon Suppression Department towards Dusk Valley, it's highly possible that Medicine Valley stored a large quantity of millennium-aged herbs, attracting covetous eyes. Thanks for your hard work, Taoist Xiao. Bai Liangbi collected the elixir pills and then turned to leave. Evil Qi? Chun Sansi stared at the other's back, using Qi observation skill, to discover that inside Bai Liangbi's true power was mixed with evil Qi. Could it be that this person refines the fiery flood dragon nourishing evil Qi pill not to temper the physique but truly to nurture evil Qi and cultivate demon techniques? Family head Bai. Chun Sansi called out to him. That batch of pills is fiery flood dragon nourishing evil Qi pill, correct? Haha. Taoist, you have a good eye. Bai Liangbi candidly said, it is indeed that pill. As an alchemist, being able to identify the type of elixir pill isn't that impressive. What truly matters is the pill recipe. Chun Sansi warned, if too many fiery flood dragon nourishing evil Qi pills are consumed, it could result in adverse effects. Thank you for the warning, Taoist. Bai Liangbi calmly replied, but don't worry, I know the limits. I also hope that you won't mention this matter to others. Oh, right. He took out a box from his sleeve. Inside is an undying grass, prepared especially for you. Chun Sansi opened the box to find a lush green spirit plant inside, shaped like a human hand. This was undying grass, one of the heavenly materials and earthly treasures, requiring a full 500 years to mature. On average, only 1 out of 10 cultivates successfully, yet it is indispensable for the opening scenic god, hence extremely valuable. Due to the necessity of heavenly materials and earthly treasures for the opening scenic god, many martial arts families, once established, gradually shift towards magic cultivation, rarely continuing solely in martial arts. A surplus of undying grass means the court is destined to gain another martial artist of true power realm soon. Thank you, Taoist. Chun Sansi placed it into his storage bag. How have things been lately? Hee. Bai Liangbi chuckled coldly. The Demon Suppression Department remains relentless against us, so we attempt negotiations again. If it doesn't work, then we won't restrain any longer. Rest assured, Taoist Xiao. Our Bai family still has ties with the Qingshu sect and has already sent people to seek assistance, so expect good news soon. He hastily left after saying this. Seek help from the Qingshu sect. Chun Sansi silently pondered. Involvement of a sect indicates the situation will escalate, but in another sense, it also provides an opportunity. Chaos will grant him a chance for victory within the disorder. Until now, all he could do was to watch and wait. After Bai family master left, the second daughter Bai Chaotong entered and took over, and together they refined several batches of pills, including the Purple Mansion pill targeting Foundation establishment cultivators. Skill: Alchemy, second tier. Progress: 346/1000. After finishing the work, Chun Sansi didn't waste time, immediately returning to the cave mansion to begin secluded cultivation. Once cultivation started, time seemed to pass unnoticed. The cycles of stars shifted. The sun and moon exchanged positions. No one knew how long it passed before Chun Sansi felt fatigue in his dantian and finally opened his eyes, exhaling a long breath. Within his Purple Mansion Tao Foundation, the seas representing his accumulation of mana appeared significantly more vast.
Cultivation technique, Swallowing Fire technique.
Foundation establishment early stage. Progress: 25/500. This progress. Chun Sansi couldn't help but lament. The road is long and challenging. He consumed a chaotic origin pill, then resumed his training in spear technique, the moves and breathing skill ingrained deeply in his memory. Under the enhancement of the herbal power, spiritual energy flowed incessantly, washing over the scenery within his body, transforming into a blazing white light within his abdominal and chest cavities. The chest diaphragm's deity, named Guang Yingzhai, styled Tao Zhong, 5 inches long, in white robe. Cultivation technique: Dragon Scripture, True Power middle stage. Progress: 313/500. The lower 8 scenic gods had opened 5 of them, simultaneously pursuing both martial arts and immortal path. Swallowing Fire technique appeared poised to advance slower compared to Dragon Scripture. Moreover, once Dragon Scripture broke through to the late stage, Chun Sansi would face the same problem: the lack of complete cultivation techniques. The Dragon Scripture passed down from his master only documented up to the late stage, missing the perfection and the golden body realm content beyond true power. It seemed his master's last rank was around true power middle stage. However, this wasn't due to Sun Xiangzong's poor aptitude. Quite the opposite, according to the 4th senior apprentice. His master was exceptionally talented but decided after visiting the extreme North Forbidden Land never to return to the cultivation world, insisting on going back to the Eastern continent. Upon returning to the Divine Continent with no available spiritual energy or resources like herbs, the rank remained mediocre, elevated in mortal affairs. Recalling his master's legendary life, Chun Sansi remembered he married late at 60, yet he never met his master's wife. Wait, they have scarcely heard of it. The imperial concubine and Sun Buki almost never mentioned it, as if there had never been a mother since childhood. Chun Sansi took out 2 tokens from the storage bag. One was the jade flute left by his 4th senior brother, Fang Qingyun, to be passed on to Jiang Xianzi of the Qingshu sect. The other was a jade pendant left by his master, which seemed to be an incomplete yin-yang fish, and should have another half. The will stated that if no cultivation technique could be found, take the jade pendant to the Qingshu sect to obtain the subsequent inheritance. Let's talk about it then. Chun Sansi put the items back and prepared to deal with the matters at hand first. The sound of a wind chime rang, opening the cave mansion. Sima Yao arrived, dusty from travel. Your Majesty, according to your instructions, people have been selected from Skywall City and brought to Sky Water Continent. What are the next steps? With their covert movements, people from the court also arrived in succession. Map. Chun Sansi spoke 2 words long unseen. The detailed map of the Beiyang Dao in Sky Water Continent was spread open before him. He scanned it briefly and selected a suitable place for ambush. Have them lay in ambush in this canyon. Set up a formation in advance. Do not act rashly before I arrive. After speaking, Chun Sansi took out several array plates and a numerous quantity of array flags. Not only was he an alchemist, but he was also a first-tier array master, with more than 10 years of accumulated study of formations. Although these formations were not of high level, their sheer quantity combined with the terrain would suffice to deal with most cultivators below foundation establishment. After all, Baiyangdao had no sex. Even if counted together, how many foundation establishment cultivators could there be? The only concern was that after making a move, swift decisions and actions were required, lest golden core cultivators from the main peak of days might be drawn over at any moment. Go and prepare, as you command. Soon, the day of the auction arrived. Luoxia Manor. This was a martial arts sect in the mortal world, considered to be of martial arts alliance hierarch level, but to cultivators they were merely small fry among small fry. This auction was led by the young city lord of Ronghua City, Jiang Li, and was open only to the Taoist circles. Without an invitation or acquaintances guarantee, one couldn't attend. The items for auction were said to include many dubious and evil paths, as well as numerous rare items, various seeds, spirit plants, magic artifacts, etc. Chen Sansi was indeed a bit interested. The court's resources were scarce, and it was time to gather some. The so-called seizing of cities and territories was essentially for resources. However, after making a move, they might not be able to hold this place. People from the demon-slaying sect also arrived punctually and managed to secure several slots. Chen Sansi found Qin Tao and entrusted him with helping him get inside. Taoist Zhang. Qin Tao found an elderly cultivator with a goatee and introduced, "This is Senior Lin Fan, a relative from ancestors' line in Kanghaidao, passing through to visit me, and upon hearing about the auction, wanted to participate too." "You little rascal." The cultivator surnamed Zhang looked up and down at the other person, surprised. "You actually know a foundation establishment senior? With such connections, why didn't you say so earlier?" "Hee." Qin Tao replied awkwardly. "My qualification is too poor, and besides, he's a distant relative, so if he could look after me a bit, I would consider myself lucky. How could I dare boast about this?" "Greetings, Senior Lin." The cultivator surnamed Zhang respectfully saluted the foundation establishment cultivator, then took out a wooden token, demonstrating his achievements. This auction was originally not open to strangers, but since it's for Qin Tao Senior, there's nothing more to say. As loose cultivators refining qi, if they could establish good relations with a foundation establishment cultivator, others would also respect them threefold. "Is that so? Then I must truly thank the Taoist for this," Chen Sansi said, tossing over a bottle of elixir pills. Oh my, Senior is indeed too courteous." The cultivator surnamed Zhang, overwhelmed with flattery. "Let me inform you, Senior, that this auction is actually a major opportunity." "Oh," Chen Sansi probed. "What do you mean by a major opportunity?" "This." The cultivator surnamed Zhang glanced around and whispered mysteriously, "This auction can elevate the limits of the seniors. I dare not say more specifics, but you will know soon enough." "All right, thank you." After committing the man's appearance to memory, Chen Sansi proceeded into the venue with his wooden token. The auction venue was repurposed from a pavilion, 3 stories high. The hall was for displaying auction items and had scattered seating. The second floor was for late stage of qi refining cultivators, and the third floor was all private rooms. As a foundation establishment realm cultivator, Chen Sansi naturally went to the third floor room with Shangguan Siheng. In the crowd, he saw a familiar face, Zhang Sun Miao. Previously at Shao Bamboo Peak, Chen Sansi almost fell victim to this person. The Yama seal in Zhang Sun Miao's hand, spewing netherworldine fire, was indeed powerful, even exceeding the 10,000 beast fierce fire. Something's not right. His gaze swept over the crowd and quickly sensed an anomaly. Because, using the Qi observation skill, Chen Sansi noticed the presence of the demonic sect's unique fiendish energy in the dantians of many cultivators here. "Fellow Taoist, have you also noticed something's amiss?" Shangguan Siheng said coldly. "My people have reported that there's a scheme by people from the 7 Kill sect behind this auction. Moreover, look, most of those who attend today's auction, regardless of their cultivation level, have some influence. For example, that flamboyantly dressed woman, her cultivation is only in the late stage of qi refining, but she's a second-tier alchemist of the Zhu family. And that old man also in late stage of qi refining, yet he is the highest-ranking member in the Wu family, and all the most talented descendants of their family are his offspring. Furthermore, in conclusion, they are all prominent figures in the Beiyang Dao. Gathering them here, it's unclear what the Seven Kills sect aims to do. The two spoke using a transmission technique so they would immediately know if someone was eavesdropping. Chun Sansi asked, "What is your sect's ultimate goal?" "First kill, then save." Shangguan Siheng continued, "Recently in Beiyang Dao, the number of missing boys and girls has been increasing day by day. We suspect it is the young city lord Jiang Li colluding with the demonic sect. So, our plan is to capture Jiang Li, and then force him to reveal the location of the boys and girls." "He's here." His expression shifted slightly as he fixed his gaze on a gorgeously dressed young man with a folding fan in the hall. "This person is merely at the late stage of qi refining and only 20 steps away from us. I'm sure to capture him alive. Shall we act?"
"No ruse."
Chan Sansi said calmly, "Since we suspect something's off with the auction, why not see what they're planning first?" "All right." Shangguan Siheng suppressed his impulse. Fellow Taoist has more considerately thought this through. The Seven Kills sect's blood sacrifice is not just empty words. Plus they arranged this auction. So we indeed should clarify what's going on. The two fell silent. The auction soon began. The process was quite simple, with a female cultivator standing on the stage, showcasing the auction items one by one. The cultivators bid anonymously via a transmission formation, and the highest bidder won. The first auction item was a set of first-tier array inheritances, including as many as 8 formations, both offensive and defensive. In the cultivation world, any inheritance is extremely precious, even a first tier. Its market price would definitely be over 2,000 spirit stones. But the auction price was only 1,000 spirit stones, causing many to go wild. Chun Sansi placed a symbolic bid. The second auction item was a set of second-tier artifact refining inheritances, whose market price was around 5,000, but the auction price was only 3,000. Shangguan Siheng bid up to over 4,000 and ultimately secured it. Subsequent third item, fourth item, to have more opportunities to access the storage area for auction items after the event. Chun Sansi also made symbolic purchases of 2 items. It wasn't until the 8th auction item that his attention was truly captured. 2 saplings of Jingshin fruit tree. The female cultivator responsible for auctioning quoted, selling price, 1,500 spirit stones. Jingshin fruit tree seedling. Chun Sansi couldn't help but focus more intently. He remembered Sima Yao had mentioned that it takes 500 to 600 years to bear fruit, and each time it only produces 1 fruit. It's extremely troublesome to cultivate, and so far the court has not had any spirit fields. But it must be attempted regardless. Even though there are no spirit fields, there are spiritual pearls, and with some special spirit plants, it might be possible to create a spirit field. 500 to 600 years is just a long-term investment. Moreover, Chun Sansi didn't plan to pay with his own money, of course he had to buy it first. A total of 4 or 5 people bid for the Jingshin fruit tree seedling, but due to the harsh planting conditions, they were reluctant to offer a high price, ultimately selling for 2,000 spirit stones. The auction continued in an orderly manner. Almost every item was priced considerably lower than the market rate, and more than half of the cultivators managed to buy their desired items. Directly opposite Chun Sansi's box, there was a higher spec box. Inside the box, a somber-faced noble young master leaned on an antler chair, gently shaking a watercolor fan, with 2 foundation establishment cultivators sitting beside him. One was wearing a purple Taoist robe, none other than the alchemist Zhang Sun Miao. The other wore a black bamboo hat, his long, pallid fingers rhythmically tapping the table surface. "Young city lord." The bamboo hat cultivator spoke, his voice somewhat hoarse. "Everything arranged properly? Fellow Taoist Qiu Yen, rest assured." Young city lord Jiang Li raised an eyebrow lightly, saying with a spooky tone, The people we invited today are mostly stuck at a bottleneck with no hope of breaking through. Seeing the cultivation techniques of your sect rekindle their hope, how could they not be tempted? Once they take back the cultivation techniques, it won't be long before the entire Beiyang domain becomes devoted followers of the Seven Kill sect. This must be achieved within 5 years. Qiu Yan reminded. After 5 years, the ceiling will break, and many golden core cultivators will likely come here. By then, the matter will surely be exposed. Naturally so. Zhang Li confidently replied, your sect can rest easy. The attention of those sects is currently on the ancestor vein, so they won't notice us. Ancestor vein? Qiu Yan sneered. Let them vie for it all they want. Once the item from Dusk Valley is in hand, it will ultimately be ours sooner or later. Indeed, Zhang Sun Miao continued, with the item in the Bai family's possession, it's truly a waste of treasure. In any upper sect, it's possible to cultivate a mighty one who can ascend to the upper realm. The time has come. Zhang Li stood up. Time to get down to business. The auction is paused for intermission. Having gained quite a few benefits, the cultivators eagerly awaited the resumption. Before attending, they heard that the second half of the auction was the real highlight. Some cultivators who knew more of the inside story even timed their arrival specifically for the second half of the auction. Your Majesty, the close eunuch Dongfang Jingxing arrived in the box with the help of the demon-slaying sect. Speaking alone through transmission, there was an issue. Our movement of personnel to Heavenly Water was leaked by a traitor. The traitor has been executed, but Beiyang Dao is likely prepared. I understand. Chun Sansi neither got angry nor reacted excessively. In warfare, espionage comes first and mutual infiltration is normal. Since the establishment of the Great Han Dynasty, the Eastern continent has suddenly calmed down, but that doesn't mean there are no enemies. It's just that the sects dare not directly confront anymore, but their private maneuvers have never stopped. Moreover, with such a significant number of people transported through the transmission array this time, it's only natural to attract attention, though it's fine to openly brandish the banner of the court. But Your Majesty, Dongfang Jingxing respectfully spoke, I'm concerned that if there are any occurrences on this side, it could draw the golden core cultivators from the main peak of Grand Swamp. Little Bamboo's first time in Heavenly Water, yet able to consider all angles, does show some qualities becoming of a general. Emperor Tianwu praised, then said unhurriedly, this is manageable. Inform Qi Chang immediately to divide some people to depart from the canyon. Do you understand what I mean? Your Majesty is wise. I will go do that now. Dongfang Jingxing withdrew. Daoist Xiao? Shangguan Siheng noticed something amiss. Did something happen outside? It's all right. Chun Sansi said calmly. The Heavenly Water cultivators are accustomed to solving problems with brute force. A little strategy will suffice. We will stick to the original plan, Daoist, as we have planned. Okay. Shangguan Siheng asked no further questions. With the sound of 3 gongs, the second half of the auction commenced. Young City Lord Jiang Li of Ronghua City ascended the high platform under the gaze of the crowd, closed his folding fan, and bowed with a smile. Greetings to everyone, fellow Taoists, seniors. The upcoming auction will be personally hosted by me, and the items for auction will be greatly beneficial to everyone. Enough of the small talk. Let's proceed directly to the main event. The first auction item is a top-grade second-tier flying sword. Buzz! As he spoke, the female cultivator beside him cast a skill. The spirit light of her storage bracelet flashed, and suddenly a 3-foot-long sword appeared. This flying sword hovered mid-air, vibrating with a buzz. Its sharp edges were entwined with a blood-fiend aura, and a vein-like blood vessel ran through the center of its blade. This is the blood-drinking sword. Young City Lord Jiang Li introduced. Forged in the blood-refining valley of chaotic desolate Yong province, it is best suited for martial cultivators, able to draw the enemy's blood during battle to replenish one's own qi blood and true power, thus achieving battle without exhaustion. Even when a magic cultivator wields it, the power of the flying sword killing skill increases continuously based on the amount of blood it drinks. and it's priced at only 2,000 spirit stones. Hiss! After seeing the sword, the cultivators at the venue began to discuss among themselves. This is a demon weapon. I've heard that to maintain this sword, it must be constantly nourished with fresh blood. Indeed, isn't this a magic artifact openly prohibited by the laws of Skywater? Seeing the hesitant expressions on everyone's faces, young City Lord Jiang Li seemed to have anticipated it. He smirked. Fellow Taoists, aren't you being a bit too pedantic? People are divided into good and evil, but where is there such division within magic artifacts? Using magic artifacts crafted by reputable sects for slaughter, isn't that still evil? Using demon cultivators' magic artifacts to slay demons and eliminate devils, isn't that still upholding justice? Ultimately, isn't it about how the artifact is used? The cultivators suddenly understood why this auction was being held among mortals. After brief hesitation, someone quickly placed an anonymous bid. In the end, the blood-drinking sword was sold for 3,000 spirit stones. Immediately afterward, Zhongli brought out the second magic artifact, the 10,000 soul banner. I'm sure you're all familiar. The 10,000 soul banner was sold for 2,000 spirit stones. The next dozen items were essentially various demon sect items. Hee. These things can all ensnare the human mind, Shangguan Siheng commented. For example, the 10,000 soul banner, once acquired, not many can resist killing to refine souls. The young city lord specifically auctioning these items seems to have ulterior motives, and the main event likely hasn't started. What has been done so far is merely a prelude, using harmless demon sect magic artifacts to make cultivators more accepting of such dubious paths. During this process, Dongfang Jingxing also returned to the box. Your Majesty, everything is arranged. Then stay by my side, Qin Sansi instructed. At the same time, young city lord Jiang Li's voice suddenly rose. Next is the grand finale of this auction, an opportunity for you all. Everyone was already captivated, holding their breath in anticipation. Buzz! In Jiang Li's palm appeared 2 jade scrolls. Here are 2 cultivation techniques. One is the plucking skill and the other is the blood refining technique. Both can cultivate to the golden core realm and require no spirit stones, entirely free for you all. Plucking skill, blood refining technique. These are genuine demon sect cultivation techniques. Simply speaking, they require continuous slaughter, using the lives of other beings as fuel to enhance oneself. In Skywater Continent, any cultivator daring to practice such techniques is recognized as a demon cultivator, marked for death by anyone. With the release of these 2 techniques, the entire venue was in an uproar. Young City Lord Jiang, this is a bit too much. Even if you dare to offer these techniques, we don't dare to cultivate them. Indeed, isn't this nonsense? An elderly elder from the Zhu family opened the window of the box and spoke. Mr. Jiang, please quickly put those things away. If the Demon Suppression Department finds out and reports this to the upper sect, it will cause major problems. Elder Zhu, if I remember correctly, if you cannot establish your foundation within 8 years, your lifespan will likely run out? Jiang Li transmitted through air with a mocking smile. This blood refining technique can solve your bottleneck problem. If you are willing to cultivate it, you can achieve qi refining perfection within 5 years, and given your position in the Zhu family, obtaining a foundation establishment pill shouldn't be difficult. Oh, let me remind you, after cultivating this technique, you are unaffected by age. Even though you are 86, your qi blood state can return to its peak. Upon hearing this, Elder Zhu's pupils flickered. Is there a technique in the world that can break the limits brought by aging? The world is vast. Wonders are innumerable. Jiang Li looked at another person. Transmitted. Your 4th room status in the Su family has been declining in recent years. If you don't produce several late-stage qi refinement cultivators, you might soon even lose access to resources. Right? This plucking skill is very difficult to trace. Even if you cultivate it, your clan members won't notice. Mr. Li, your grandson, Taoist Zhang, you and your Taoist partner. He continued transmitting individually, always able to touch upon the sore spots of everyone present. Is this proselytizing for the demon sect? Shangguan Siheng finally understood the opponent's intention. But cultivators weren't ready to cultivate demon techniques so easily. They understood one thing clearly. There's no such thing as a free lunch. The technique was free, but who dared accept it lightly? Zhongli, seeing through the hearts of people, straightforwardly said, "You're misunderstanding. The ultimate aim of this auction held by myself is certainly to earn spirit stones. I also know that all of you have upright hearts, refusing to cultivate these techniques simply because you don't want to harm the innocent. Still, as I've always said, neither techniques nor magic artifacts have intrinsic divisions of good or evil. It depends on how the owner uses them. Hence, I've already prepared everything for you." He gently clapped his hands. Before long, someone brought a group of people onto the stage from behind. These people were either young women or boys and girls. "These people have all voluntarily sold themselves," Zhongli loudly announced. "Anyone willing to purchase will receive lawful contracts of sale, so it doesn't count as slaughtering innocents, nor will the Demon Suppression Department or the upper sect come to investigate you. Moreover, I will continue to provide fuel for you in the future. Among these individuals, some possess spirit roots. If used for cultivation, progress will be incredibly swift. Plus, they will help fellow Taoists enhance their limits. Consider carefully, fellow Taoists. Next, I'll briefly discuss the price. Mixed spirit root boy, per person. Lower grade 3 spirit roots girl, price. The cultivators discussed privately. After all, it's actually about selling furnace tripods. Moreover, these furnace tripods aren't cheap. If supplies are sustained, it truly could be a lucrative business. Most importantly, even if traced by the Demon Suppression Department, it has nothing to do with them, no risk to bear. Soon, anonymous bids began. There were over 1,000 furnace tripods this time. Many hadn't been brought to Luoxia Manor, only a number and corresponding qualification. Buyers would have them delivered to their doorsteps. Outrageous! Shangguan Siheng restrained his emotions. Recently missing boys and girls are indeed all due to the city lord of Ronghua City. They're colluding with the 7-Kill sect, attempting to proselytize this way. Once cultivators practice demon techniques, they will become addicted to the sensation of breaking bottlenecks and rapid enhancement, never able to return. Gradually, they naturally become disciples of the demon sect. In the past, the demon sect valued its own heritage extremely highly. This time, they're investing heavily to bring out golden core realm techniques, seemingly determined to demonize Beiyang Dao. Dongfang Jingxing's eyes flickered. The sinister expression gradually revealed, looking at the boys and girls on the stage, as if seeing himself years ago. Chun Sansi made numerous purchases of spirit root possessing girls to seem in step with the crowd. Soon after, the auction ended. The final furnace tripod auction likely earned spirit stones several times the sum of all preceding items like magic artifacts. All right, Zhongli concluded. In the coming years, there should still be many similar auctions, and you're welcome to come and participate regularly. Those who purchased items they desired, don't rush to leave. Please wait in Qingfeng building next door. These auctions were anonymous. The items obtained weren't handed over on-site, but instead delivered collectively after the event. After all, no one wanted outsiders to know they were cultivating demon techniques. Such a system acted as a cover, allowing them to claim they merely bought orthodox magic artifacts at first. At this moment, all items from the entire auction were gathered in Qingfeng building, waiting for everyone to go and collect. Qingfeng building is right next to the auction venue. After the auction, almost all the cultivators in the villa gradually made their way to Qingfeng building, evidently having participated in the bidding and purchased items. Several female cultivators stood in the hall, inviting the cultivators to take their seats one by one and introducing the rules. Each person had a random number, and when their number was called, they would ascend the building to pay spirit stones and collect their purchased items, then depart invisibly. The entire process ensures no outsiders know what you've purchased. Number 5. Chun Sansi looked at the wooden token in his hand. The number wasn't too far back, so there was no need to rush. The transactions proceeded quickly, and in just the time it takes to drink 2 cups of tea, his number was called. Please, number 5. Come upstairs for the transaction. Chun Sansi led Dongfang Jingxing up the stairs, one behind the other. The confidentiality measures were mainly for the cultivators. If they trusted each other, naturally they could bring a companion. The 2 female cultivators leading the way stopped and gently pushed open the room door. Inside the private room, young city lord Zhang Li sat in a deer antler chair. Wearing a purple robe, Zhang Sun Miao stood next to him, followed by a row of guards from the city lord mansion. He noticed that the 2 people who entered were somewhat unfamiliar, so he discreetly sent a voice transmission asking, "Zhang who? Aren't these people from Beiyang Path?" "Correct," the cultivator surnamed Zhang explained. This auction also had a few loose cultivators from outside Beiyang Path participating, not many, about 5 or 6. Young city lord, rest assured, this person not only bought a large number of demon sect magic artifacts but also many furnace tripods. Throughout the entire auction, his transaction amount was among the top. Zhang Li didn't think much of it. He just smiled and greeted, "Taoist Lin Fan, nice to meet you. The young city lord is too kind." Chun Sansi stated directly, "Could I inspect the items I previously purchased?" Of course, of course." Zhang Li smiled affably and took out several storage bags from his sleeve, then retrieved the items purchased by the other party according to the numbers. Both Demon Sect and Righteous Path items hovered in midair, numerous and expensive, constituting a large transaction. He said warmly, "Taoist Lin Fan, rest assured, though the auction was temporarily organized, my Jiang family is, after all, the master of Ronghua City, ruling a city with credibility. I've heard you're a loose cultivator from Songhai Path. Any interest in staying in our Ronghua City as a tributor? Not to mention, you'd surely have plenty of furnace tripods, and with your qualification, you could become a great cultivator in the later foundation establishment stage over time. In Beiyang Path, a later foundation establishment stage cultivator is already a dominant force." Chun Sansi ignored the latter part of the sentence and merely skimmed through the items. "Thanks for young Master Zhang's kindness, but I'm just passing through here to visit my juniors, and I must move on. I'm afraid I cannot stay long." "All right then." Zhang Li was slightly disappointed, waved his folding fan, and put all the items back into the storage bag. "The items you bid for total 80,230 low-grade spirit stones, but will only charge you 80,000, just to make a friend." 80,000. That's not a small number at all. Chun Sansi, short on funds, had only a few hundred spirit stones on hand. He unabashedly took a seat at the head, observing with C-pill and recognized the recipe, that the tea was harmless, and then had little bamboo pour him some tea. Zhang Li, Zhang Sun Miao, and the guards in the private room were somewhat unclear about what the other party meant. 80,000 spirit stones is indeed a hefty sum. Only those backed by a force or rogue cultivators who've saved for years could gather such a large amount of spirit stones. This attempt to draw in the other party was why Zhang Li tried, sitting opposite. But these items on the outside market would fetch a different price. Moreover, let me remind you, the auction rules are that once the hammer falls, it's final. Even if you change your mind, you cannot renege, or else you'll be breaking the rules. Chun Sansi put down the teacup. "How about we make a deal?" "Oh." Zhang Li unfolded his folding fan, smiling. "Do tell." "Yes." Chun Sansi looked at the beam, enumerating smoothly. "Young city lord of the Jiang family, auctioning demon sect magic artifacts, elixir pills, spreading cultivation techniques, selling boys and girls as furnace tripods for cultivators, suspected of collusion with demon sects. Any of these, if exposed alone, would be intolerable to the world, right?" These words plunged the room into dead silence. The already quiet private room became so silent that even breathing seemed to vanish. The faces of the Ronghua City people changed drastically. "Interesting." A moment later, Zhang Li sneered, "I understand. Taoist is threatening me?" How amusing. Zhang Sun Miao, who had been silent, stood up, mocking. What's the point of saying these words? Simple. Chan Sansi said indifferently. The Jiang family has violated the laws, which is already a capital offense, but I can give you an opportunity. From now on, change your ways, submit to me, including the properties of Ronghua City and the Jiang family. You must actively hand them over. Do this, and those of your Jiang family not involved in this will be dealt with leniently. The laws. Jiang Li scrutinized the other party, his expression shifting from disdain to seriousness. He instinctively stood up and stepped back, questioning, Heavenly water laws? Are you people from an upper sect?
No.
Dongfang Jingxing took over, a sharp malice edged in his voice. It's the Great Han laws, the heavenly court regulations. Great Han. Jiang Li searched his mind for this term, but before he could find a corresponding memory, he saw a river suddenly appear in the void, its blue waters winding forward, instantly enveloping his entire vision. Before he could react, he had already felt his head detached from his body, rolling backward continuously until it was entirely engulfed in darkness. Chun Sansi flicked his finger again, and a fireball suddenly burst forth, growing larger like a snowball, enveloping the cultivator surnamed Zhang. Zhang, who cast a water attribute barrier before him, but the opponent's realm was overwhelming, and it seemed like thousands of fierce beasts were galloping within the fireball. His barrier couldn't even hold for a moment before it completely dissolved, and his entire being turned into a heap of ashes. Chun Sansi extended his hand and collected all the storage bags on the young city lord, almost including everything from the entire auction. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Young city lord, are you robbing openly? Someone realized. Open robbery? This is a confiscation. Dongfang Jingxing's voice was loud. You scums spread demon techniques, using the common people as fuel for your furnace tripod. You deserve to die without burial. Your entire family should be executed. Xiao Feng? Beside him, Zhang Sun Miao looked at the water element true power before him, suddenly recalling his encounter at the small bamboo peak years ago, his face turning ferocious. At the same time, commotion could be heard outside Qingfeng building. It's bad. Someone is killing people. The entire Qingfeng building was in chaos. You Xiaofeng, you actually have ties with the demon court of the Eastern continent. I have been looking for you for a long time. I didn't expect you would dare to come back to seek death. Zhang Sun Miao roared, stomping his foot, his hands rapidly forming a technique, summoning a stone pillar to crush towards the opponent. Thick earth decision. Boom! Walls of earth shimmering with golden light rose before Chun Sansi. The collapsing heavenly pillar smashed into them, shattering instantly. Instead, the mana contained within was absorbed by the earth walls, growing powerfully, returning like a mountain to smash at the opponent. Zhang Sun Miao was greatly shocked, hurriedly retreating by stepping on a flying sword, as the falling mountain created a gaping hole in the ground, causing the entire pavilion to tremble continuously, on the verge of collapsing. Zhang Sun Miao had just steadied himself, when the opponent was already before him. His long sword, carrying true power, transformed into a surging river. He hastily summoned a pitch-black shield to hold in front of himself, continuously infusing it with mana. He was a mid-stage foundation establishment cultivator. And opposite him, Chun Sansi's combat strength corresponded to the early stage of foundation establishment in both the immortal path and martial arts, individually matched and held his ground. Hey! Zhang Sun Miao shouted, a green seal appearing in his palm. With a flick of the sword finger, the beast heads on the seal spewed out a ghostly green flame, containing skeleton souls, clawing and pouncing forward. Yama seal soul netherworld fire. Chun Sansi once again unleashed the 10,000 beast fierce fire, but shortly after the two fires collided, it was consumed by the soul netherworld fire. Thick earth decision appeared again. Even across the earth wall he could feel the burning pain brought by the soul netherworld fire, but the remaining flame was quickly absorbed by the thick earth decision, transforming into a mountain ablaze with ghostly green flames, smashing back at the attacker. Accumulated strength released. What? Zhang Sun Miao knew the power of his own flame best. Daring not to resist, he almost clumsily dodged backward, having been repelled twice. He was somewhat incredulous. The Banshan sect's unpassed secret technique? Yong! Chun Sansi stomped his foot, his Xian Yuan sword in his hand like a river gripped in his palm, surging heavenly rivers through his 7 apertures and limbs, rushing forward like a boat riding the wave. Behind him, numerous azure sword chi broke through the water, as numerous as a locust swarm, tearing off the beams of the pavilion, overwhelming the purple-robed Taoist. Zhang Sun Miao raised his shield again. However, as the myriad sword chi approached, they merged into one, transforming into a giant sword over a zhang tall, wide enough to embrace, descending from the sky. Boom! The sword chi swirled, killing intent surged. A sword fell, and the shield suspended in front of Zhang Sun Miao seemed unable to hold on, crashing heavily in front of him. He staggered and fell to the ground, smashing the tables, chairs, and tea sets to pieces. All swords returned to the ancestor of the heavenly sword sect. Who exactly are you? Before his doubts could be voiced, he saw a tidal wave crashing towards him. A cold light pierced through it, unimpeded, directly through his heart. The sword blade stirred, turning his heart into a pulp instantly, and his other organs were shredded by the rampant true power. Zhang Sun Miao could only instinctively grip the sword blade stuck in his chest with both hands. As his last breath was exhausted, he died unwillingly, bowing his head. Chun Sansi's immortal path and martial arts were inferior to the opponent, but by flexibly combining the two, he could easily deal with a mid-stage foundation establishment cultivator. SSS. On the other side, Dongfang Jingxing, with a shadowy expression, merely waved his hand, causing several early-stage qi refining cultivators to be torn apart. Upon closer inspection, thin strands of colorless heavenly silkworm silk were wrapped around his slender white fingers. After consecutively slaying Young City Lord Jiang Li and Zhang Sun Miao, half the pavilion had collapsed in the melee, and Luoxia Manor was already in chaos. Most cultivators, unaware of the situation and not wishing to join the slaughter, decided to flee in all directions, as they were merely there for the auction. Meanwhile, news spread through various transmission methods, prompting Ronghua City to immediately dispatch a large number of cultivators. Demon Suppression Department demon suppression guards patrolling various areas also gathered there. This place isn't safe for long. Rescue whoever you can and then leave. Chun Sansi took Zhang Sun Miao's storage bag and stepped onto the flying sword, soaring into the air. Dongfang Jingxing followed closely behind. Shangguan Siheng and others had prepared a flying boat in advance. They swiftly left Luoxia Manor, carrying young boys, girls, and women with spirit root. Squad leader, it's not good. Duan Silu, who was scouting outside, arrived in the air, reporting, various forces in Beiyangdao have increased their patrols. Numerous personnel are scattered around, and upon receiving the transmission, they'll soon be heading this way. We will be caught up very soon. As expected, 100 breaths later, a swarm of cultivators appeared in the air from all directions, densely packed, making it difficult to discern the numbers. Don't panic, Shangguan Siheng reassured. Follow Xiao Daoist's original plan. The group formed a neat formation and charged toward the canyon dozens of miles ahead. Ronghua City. City Lord Jiang Shang, Song Dynasty's 8th Prince Zhao Sun, and several devil cultivators gathered, sharing laughter in their conversations. Suddenly, a confidant burst into the hall. City Lord, 8th Prince, something terrible has happened. A major incident. Interrupted. City Lord Jiang Shang looked displeased. Speak. The young City Lord. The young City Lord is dead. The cultivator, overwhelmed with emotion, stammered. Today at Luoxia Manor, a group suddenly attacked, claiming to be from the mortal dynasty of the Eastern continent. They stole everything from the auction, killed the young City Lord and Senior Zhangsun, and then left triumphantly. The news was like thunder. What did you say? Jiang Shang's eyes turned bloodshot in an instant. He flashed forward, gripping the other person's collar tightly. What were you doing? There were people from the demon-slaying sect there, striking swiftly, and even late-stage Foundation establishment cultivators among them. We really couldn't match them, City Lord. The cultivator nearly wept. Had I known, I would have waited until the auction was completely over before leaving. It's my fault. Qiu Yen sighed deeply. In any case, that mortal dynasty has been dormant for over 10 years. I didn't expect them to reappear by actively attacking the Sky-Water continent. How bold. Mortal dynasty? 8th Prince Zhao soon sneered. Such nerve! The people from Shengyun sect have been looking for them lately. I didn't expect them to deliver themselves. Come, transmit to all demon suppression guards within 200 miles of Luoxia Manor. Dispatch immediately and ensure none of them escape. In the canyon, the soldiers of the Han Dynasty court arrived early at the predetermined ambush site. Oh my goodness! Wang Ji, who was already a true power warrior, carried a mo blade as long as 7 feet, gazing at the vast expanse of Sky-Water continent. This world of cultivation is truly different. Not only him, but the soldiers who had been practicing in Skywall City for many years were also stepping into the world of cultivation for the first time, and they couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. Zhou Weijin looked at the distant mountain peaks, where cultivators could be seen faintly flying their swords, his eyes filled with longing. I've heard that there are places so rich in spiritual energy that you can cultivate even while sleeping. Sooner or later, it will all be ours. Yu Ji gazed into the distance, confidently stating, where the sun and moon shine, mountains, rivers, and streams, all will be the territory of our great Han. Heavenly soldiers. Rong Yanqiu held a long whip designed like a spine, her sharp gaze sweeping over everyone. A soldier is trained for 1,000 days just to be used in one moment of battle. Ever since Skywall City was established, we have practiced day and night, consuming countless resources. Many soldiers outside the capital have criticized us, thinking we're nothing but useless idlers. 10 years of grinding a sword, yet its frosty edge never tested. 10 years of hard cultivation just for this day to test our blades. For a long time, the Heavenly Water Bandit sect has harbored ill intentions against us. It's time to show them the sharp edge of our great Han swords. Exterminate the Heavenly Water. Serve the court. Exterminate the Heavenly Water. Serve the court. The heavenly soldiers shouted in unison, then quickly quieted down, moving to the sides of the canyon, hiding behind random rocks, crouched and concealed. 50 miles away, more and more cultivators from Ronghua City and the demon suppression guards gathered from all directions like a plague of locusts, densely packed beyond count. They stood on uniform flying swords, pinching spells with their hands, flashing a myriad of spell lights, illuminating the entire heavenly dome. Compared to mortal wars in the cultivation world with similar realms, there is often a greater fear of encirclement, including but not limited to magic artifacts, mana, and other factors. Not to mention, among the cultivators of Ronghua City and the Demon Suppression Department, there were those at the Foundation Establishment realm. A magic cultivator at the true power middle stage of the Demon Suppression Department, riding on a puppet immortal crane, held a copper mace that buzzed incessantly, closing the distance and commanding, "Chase them. Capture any demon person. Reward with 500 spirit stones. Capture a Foundation Establishment demon person. Reward with 8,000 spirit stones." Mr. Wu, a cultivator from Ronghua City, worriedly said, "Among those people, there are cultivators at the late Foundation Establishment stage. Isn't it too risky for us to pursue like this?" "What are you afraid of?" Wu Wei, eyes red, exclaimed. "We are over 200 people. Even if we can't match them one-on-one, we can form a formation to trap them here. It won't take long for the City Lord and the 8th Prince to arrive. Let one escape and you'll see." Buzz! The pursuing forces accelerated again. The distance between them and the demon people became increasingly shorter. Just as they were about to catch up, a massive canyon suddenly appeared ahead, and those demon people entered it one after another. The cultivators didn't hesitate, followed into the canyon, finally caught up, and spread out, surrounding Chun Sansi and a few others. Hee. Wu Wei squinted his eyes, looking at the leader's long sword and the water element true power surrounding him, sneering, "You must be Xiao Feng? And the one next to you is Shangguan Siheng from the demon-slaying sect? Unexpectedly, you both have ties to such a barren land. Today, we indeed caught two big fish. This Taoist," Chun Sansi said faintly, "who between us is the fish? You'd better get it straight, right? Who are you trying to scare?" Wu Wei pointed at them with his copper mace disdainfully. "The city lord and the Lord 8 will be here soon. I advise you not to resist in vain. Maybe if you give up now, you'll get a quick death, or else we'll make sure you're blown to pieces, never to reincarnate." Chun Sansi smiled without speaking. Beside him, the few others each took out their magic artifacts, stood in formation, their expressions solemn and fearless. Wu Wei sensed something was wrong, felt a strange atmosphere, then heard a loud cry suddenly coming from overhead. Boom! At the top of the canyon, there were continuous loud noises. Heavenly water thieves, as foolish as pigs, caught in an ambush and still unaware? Wang Ji raised the Mo blade high, the blade light continuously surging, a single slash like Mount Tai pressing down. The pitch-black true power transforming into black tortoise smashed down fiercely. Wu Wei was taken aback, hurriedly raising his copper mace to parry, but simultaneously, a long whip like a giant python's tail swept across his face. At the same time, one after another, soldiers donned in Mingguang iron armor descended from the sky. Countless talismans burst out like arrows, forming a sheet in midair. 100,000 heavenly soldiers and generals are here. Thieves surrender at once. Kill! Kill! The sudden change caught the cultivators from the Demon Suppression Department and Ronghua City off guard, only seeing a vast array of spells and soldiers charging at them. These people seemed like a mortal army, yet each possessed cultivation, whether martial or magic, numbers unknown. Boom! Prearranged formations activated, causing the entire canyon to tremble violently. Countless rolling stones and logs, infused with surging spiritual power, fell. Even if the cultivators managed to resist, they would lose focus and be slain by the enemy soldiers closing in. "It's an ambush. Retreat quickly. Retreat quickly." The guards of Ronghua City and the Demon Suppression Department, having always operated in packs to hunt others since cultivation, had never encountered such a situation. They were momentarily flustered and terrified. And in the cultivation world, among various powers, those who are always the most numerous are the ones at the lowest realm. Take the Demon Suppression Department, for example. Over 80% are Qi refining middle stage practitioners, and those at the late stage of Qi refining are considered leaders, able to manage 100 people, akin to the 100 captains in mortal armies. The Foundation establishment realm is comparable to the 1,000 captain, yet the skirmishes they encounter in daily life are not much. Therefore, they quickly fell apart and no longer heeded any commands, only focusing on fleeing outside the canyon. The more this happened, the heavier their losses became. Zhou Weijin, with a heavenly grade golden spirit root, controlled his flying sword. Even though it was an ordinary sword control technique, in his hands, it became fearsomely lethal, its power hard to withstand. Normal Qi refining middle stage practitioners are not even a match for him, and even those at the late stage of Qi refining had to take him seriously. The others, Sun Buqi, Deng Feng, Meng Qiuji, Zhang Shun, and others, having painstakingly cultivated for 10 years, finally seized this opportunity to unleash all their skills. The two brothers of the Sima family, one wielding a long blade transformed into a wolf demon form, the other holding a spear morphing into a leopard head, seemed like demons, further boosting their companions' morale. The people from the demon-slaying sect fought in a frenzy utterly reckless. They might not have numbers on their side, but their combat strength was extraordinarily terrifying. Within a few moves, the Demon Suppression Department and the cultivators of Ronghua City lost dozens. Having no will to resist anymore, stepping on their magic artifacts as they fled miserably. These people have not been tempered by the baptism of war. Sukin held a magic artifact bow and arrow. They might act aggressive when grouped together, but when truly confronted, they're actually quite vulnerable. Beware! Someone else is coming.
Boom!
In the distant sky, a middle-aged man stepped on a massive golden blade, swiftly traversing, seemingly tearing through the void, flying angrily toward the canyon. Foundation Establishment Late Stage. Following him were another 2 Foundation Establishment cultivators. Suppressing his rage, the middle-aged man commanded rationally, "Quickly, go inform the elder of Shenyun sect at Day's Peak. Tell him cultivators from Eastern Continent are flooding into Beiyangdao, requesting him to step in and eradicate them. There might be unexpected gains." These people before them were at most in the Foundation Establishment Late Stage. Once the Golden Core Elder takes action, they could be easily wiped out. This person is Ronghua City's City Lord Jiang Shang. Shangguan Siheng recognized. The 2 beside him should both be tributors from Ronghua City. The 7 Kill Sect individuals haven't shown up. Brother Xiaofeng, the canyon is entrusted to you. We'll handle diverting these men. With that said, he then summoned his life-bound flying sword and charged forward. "Demon, return my son's life!" Jiang Shang bellowed, walking upon clouds while wielding the massive golden blade in his hand, clashing with the cultivator in long robes and his flying sword. Yong! Mana surged, clouds churned. Main peak of days. Peak top. An old man, looking spirited and sage-like, sat cross-legged at the cliff's edge, absorbing the essence of the sun and moon, and imbibing nature's spiritual energy. Behind him was a massive array plate crafted from special stone materials, studded densely with middle-grade spirit stones, and array flags neatly arranged. Yet the formation wasn't activated, resting dormant. Beside him stood a young cultivator. With eyes closed, the old man slowly said, "Within my Shangyun sect, the cloud ascending technique can be cultivated by no more than 20 people each generation. Today, I am imparting it to you. Do you understand what this means? Disciple will certainly focus on cultivation and not disappoint master's painstaking efforts."
Wang Yun respectfully replied.
The old man slowly opened his eyes, about to impart some teachings, when movement came from behind, and a disciple hurriedly reached the peak. "Elder Shouzhong." The disciple cupped his fists and reported, "The city lord of Ronghua City has transmitted a message, saying people from Eastern Continent appear near Luoxia Mountain, seemingly many in number, begging Elder to step in and eradicate them." Eastern Continent. The elder pondered aloud, asking, "Are they the disciples of that Gui Qi?" The disciple replied, "If Elder is referring to Chen Lei, he hasn't shown up yet, but it seems he has connected with the demon-slaying sect, with quite a few Foundation Establishment cultivators engaging in battle." "The demon-slaying sect?" Shizhongzi slowly stood up. "Forget it, I shall go and stretch my muscles. The great matter is at hand, lest these youngsters keep chattering." He didn't ride a magic artifact, but instead transformed directly into a light of escape, disappearing in an instant, flying straight towards Luoxia Mountain. However, after just 50 miles away, Shizhongzi abruptly stopped, glancing down at a desolate mountain beneath, clearly sensing someone lurking inside. Could it be? His eye twitched slightly, flying around the Li family area, indeed discovering someone lurking at several locations. He almost fell into the youngster's trap. Buzz! Shizhongzi transformed again into the light of escape, returning to the main peak of the Great Marsh. "Master!" Wang Jun looked at him coming and going, somewhat puzzled. "It's a diversion, a tactic to lure the tiger away from the mountain," Shizhongzi said calmly. "The commotion at Luoxia Mountain was meant to draw me away. Their real target is the spirit-gathering array." "I see," Wang Jun pondered. "I've dealt with Chun Lei before. This person is always cunning. It's indeed something he would do." The reporting disciple said, "Elder, are you not planning to go?" Shizhongzi said calmly. "In recent years, nothing is more important than breaking the seal. I absolutely won't leave the Great Marsh Peak lightly. As for the rest, let them make a fuss. Once the seal is broken, that Chun fellow will have no tricks left. Understood. I shall go notify Ronghua City. Let them handle it themselves, he said and left.
Wang Jr.
Shizhongzi continued, don't you think things have been unusually chaotic in Beiyang lately? Not long ago was the Ascension Conference, and soon after is the Nine Nether Forbidden Ground. Wang Jun responded impeccably. Many loose cultivators from other regions have come over. Some chaos is only natural. Is that so? Hopefully. Shizhongzi closed his eyes again, meditating. Luoxia Mountain Canyon, Shangguan Siheng and Jiang Shang, among other Foundation establishment cultivators, fought further and further away, soon disappearing nearby, without a trace of where they went. Chun Sansi wielded the Xian Yuan sword, his entire being like a great river flowing through the void. Where he passed, heads rolled. For almost half an incense stick, the battle neared its end. More than 100 cultivators from the Demon Suppression Department and Ronghua City fell in battle, while the rest fled like birds and beasts, and on the court side, only 2 were killed.
Boom!
Chun Sansi merged his figure with the water flow as one, sweeping the long sword horizontally, directly defeating the outnumbered Wu Wei of the Demon Suppression Department, knocking him out like a kite with a broken string, slamming into the cliff face, creating a huge depression. But he didn't take his life, instead cutting off his hands and capturing him alive. This person seems to be one of the 8th prince's confidants in Song Dynasty, and once caused trouble in the Bai family, very likely knowing more of Beiyang's inside information, which would be greatly helpful in the future. Don't chase a cornered foe, Chun Sansi ordered. Everyone, do not engage in prolonged battle. Leave this place immediately. Disperse into various mortal regions of Beiyang to lie in wait. Await notification for the day to return to the divine continent. Do not act rashly without orders. Yes, sir. Everyone quickly tidied up the battlefield, then left the canyon. After all, they had won by ambush. If they lingered, many more cultivators would soon be drawn. The canyon, which had been bombarded with spells shortly before, suddenly became quiet. Fellow Taoist Duan? Chun Sansi noticed Duan Silu and others gathered together, discussing something. Why are you still here? Duan, Taoist friend? Chun Sansi reminded. It's time to go, or more people will surround us. Not everyone has been rescued yet. Duan Silu spoke in a still somewhat erratic manner. I just captured a live one and learned there are still hundreds of boys and girls locked underneath a brothel in Ronghua City. We're planning to rescue them. This auction only showcased a portion of the furnace tripods, and the majority were auctioned off by number without showing their faces. Chun Sansi pondered. The situation has already escalated. Wouldn't it be unwise to go now?
No.
Quite the opposite. Duan Silu replied seriously. I estimate that right now the whole city is rushing over here. Going back now will allow us to move unseen under the light, and we can definitely sneak into the city without much effort. I understand that, Chun Sansi warned, but Ronghua City has a city protection array, and even if you find them, it will be very difficult to get them out. No need to take them out, Duan Silu explained. I suspect this whole thing was orchestrated by that old Jiang Shang and the demon sect. In the end, it's a shady business. Plus, there are so many of them. As long as we can get them out of the brothel, it will surely attract Shengyun sect's attention. Although these sects are not necessarily good people, they pride themselves on being righteous sects and have the basic bottom line that they won't ignore this. Taoist Shao should retreat first. The 3 of us are enough to handle this. As he spoke, the 3 of them adjusted direction, treading on their flying swords. What about you guys? Chun Sansi looked at them, knowing the rescued boys and girls might be unharmed, but they absolutely wouldn't be able to escape again. What if you go and never return? Then we'll never return. Duan Silu and the other 2 didn't look back and flew straight toward Ronghua City, constantly forming seals to accelerate, and soon disappeared from sight. Chun Sansi watched their backs, wanting to say something but stopping himself. He couldn't help but recall Sima Yao's assessment of these people, madmen. Indeed, a bit crazy. He couldn't imagine, in Skywater Continent, that anyone would be willing to use their life in exchange for the survival of unrelated individuals. Deep down, he knew he couldn't do it. This situation was different from when they left Piyang and crossed Hengze. Back then, there was still a glimmer of hope, and his fellow villagers followed him through adversity. They made a life-or-death attempt together when faced with a dire situation, while these furnace tripods, though innocent, would only make him try his best without risking his own life. Wish them good luck, Chun Sansi whispered to himself, then had Little Bamboo carry the demon suppression department's Wu Wei, and the two flew away. After flying more than 10 miles, Chun Sansi awakened the armless demon suppression guard on the flying boat. Demon! Wu Wei's arm throbbed with heart-wrenching pain, and he roared ferociously. How dare you! I am a silver token commander of the Demon Suppression Department and a confidant of Lord 8. You dare capture me, the Song Court won't spare you. The upper sect won't spare you. Ah! Before he could finish, Dongfang Jingxing manipulated the flying knife, carving a piece of flesh from him, and a sinister voice creeped into his ears. Answer whatever you are asked next. Eunuch, He had several pieces of flesh sliced away, all done using the Lingqi blade technique. Despite seeing bone, he couldn't die and could only endure endless torment. This Lingqi blade technique originally contains a total of 360 cuts. You, as a martial artist with a strong physique, should endure even more cuts. Dongfang Jingxing said coldly, I boast good skills, guaranteeing you won't pass out, allowing you to enjoy it fully. Ha ha ha, disabled person. Not even as good as a mortal slave. Do whatever you want. Wu Wei suddenly felt a chill. What? What are you doing? No, I'll talk. I'll tell everything. Only then did Dongfang Jingxing slowly put away his knife and began a careful interrogation. Meanwhile, Chun Sansi stood with his sword, remaining vigilant about the surroundings, vaguely sensing something approaching. But as a Foundation Establishment early-stage cultivator, his divine sense was not keen enough to accurately detect it, so he slightly frowned. Our home asks you, Dongfang Jingxing bluntly inquired. What is in by Family's Medicine Valley? What are you planning with the demon sect? And is it connected to the Medicine Valley incident? Medicine Valley. Wu Wei hesitated, only willing to say a word when the blade threatened closer. In the Medicine Valley there's that buzz. An unexpected buzzing sound rang in the ears of the three. It was then that Chun Sansi suddenly realized, on the edge of their flying boat, an unnoticed black spot appeared, which, on a closer look, was a cicada insect. The pitch-black body had strange patterns on its surface, and its vibrating wings contained spiritual power. Its mouth emitted a needle-like spike, directly charging forward. The cicada's speed was not fast. Enveloped in water flows, the long sword in Chun Sansi's hand accurately slashed at the cicada, slicing it in half. Yet, at the moment the blade tore through its shell, the cicada's interior erupted with an intense black light. Not good. Chun Sansi's heart sank as he pulled Little Bamboo behind him with one hand, simultaneously forming seals and casting, summoning a thick earth shield in front of him. At the same time, the diminutive cicada's body unleashed an incomparably terrifying evil chi, which exploded massively outward. Boom! Even with the thick earth shield blocking, Chun Sansi was still knocked back dozens of meters in the air before stabilizing himself with effort. But Wu Wei wasn't so fortunate. He and the entire flying boat were torn apart in the explosion, fragments scattering to the ground, devoid of any life. The black cicada can actually explode, and the release power is not weaker than the full force strike of any mid-stage Foundation Establishment cultivator. Killing and silencing witnesses. The sound of the cicada's wings vibrating came again. Groups of black cicadas appeared around them in all directions, estimating at least dozens. If they exploded together, it would be terrifying. Chun Sansi flicked his fingers and threw a golden scale flying blade, detonating one from a distance. However, these goo insects had spirituality and flew sparsely, so they did not affect the other black cicadas. Each black cicada hovered and flapped its wings within a certain range. Cracks on their body surface flickered with spirit light, accumulating to the limit before triggering an evil chi explosion. Boom, boom, boom. The thick earth decision reached its limit and turned into a sphere of earth carrying evil chi, crashing into the black cicada blocking the path. Chun Sansi and his companion managed to break out of the encirclement and disappeared into the vast clouds. The black cicadas pursued them from behind, but only a few managed to keep up. The rest quickly disappeared from sight. These goo insects are truly formidable. Chun Sansi was astonished in his heart. Fortunately, everything in the world has its weaknesses. The flight speed of these black cicadas is limited, and as long as a certain distance is maintained, it's difficult for their explosions to hit directly. But perhaps he could make up for their weaknesses. Thinking this, Chun Sansi decided to catch a few to bring back for breeding. He retrieved a second-tier ice freeze talisman from his waist and scattered it forward. Buzz! A wave of spiritual power, the yellow talisman paper shattered, turning into a cloud of ice mist, freezing a black cicada within, turning it into an ice crystal that landed in his hand. Chun Sansi repeated the trick, quickly capturing 4 goo insects, tossing them into the storage bag, and reinforcing it with talismanic boundaries to prevent the goo insects from tracking him. After completing these preparations, he cast a sharp gaze towards a distant mountain forest, where he saw a cultivator in a black robe standing still. The other party showed no intention to pursue, and Chun Sansi had no plans to chase after him for revenge. He led Little Bamboo and accelerated through the air, quickly leaving the area. This individual has a significant level of cultivation and likely possesses many unorthodox treasures. Whether victory could be achieved is uncertain, but it would surely waste a lot of time fighting. The longer they linger, the greater the danger. The demon cultivator Chiu Yen also flickered and disappeared. After flying several hundred miles, Chun Sansi and his companion arrived at a cave in a desolate mountain, easily killing a tiger residing there, and temporarily settled down. This battle had come to an end. Most of their party had successfully escaped, and no more pursuers were behind them. For the Skywall City cultivators, this trial was considered successful, though it was a pity they couldn't extract more information from the Demon Suppression Guard. Over the following days, Chun Sansi and Little Bamboo stayed in the cave, waiting for Shangguan Siheng and others to arrive and discuss subsequent plans. During this time, he didn't remain idle, but instead organized the spoils from this encounter. The majority of the auction items ended up in his hands, including magic artifacts, elixir pills, cultivation techniques, and spirit plants. Not only righteous, but also magical items. Additionally, a large number of spirit stones were found on the young city lord Zhongli. Overall, this was a windfall, sufficient to sustain the entire Skywall City for 2 years. Thinking of this, Chun Sansi felt it was still too modest, far from sufficient, as Skywall City had many inhabitants. In the cultivation world, families and sects usually have their own industries to sustain operations for a long term. This time, in his possession were some spirit plant seedlings, including Jingshan fruit, but there is no spirit land within Skywall City. After considering, Chun Sansi took out 1 set of each talisman, formation, and alchemy heritage, handing them to the eunuch. After returning, select personnel and try cultivating these magic skills, with raw materials provided by the court. Yes. Dongfang Jingxing listened earnestly. Little Bamboo did well this time, showing no fear on the battlefield for the first time and handling matters decisively. Chun Sansi waved his hand, and a large number of magic artifacts and cultivation techniques floated mid-air. Choose 3. They're your reward from me. This servant thanks your majesty. Dongfang Jingxing did not fuss too much and directly began selecting items. The first thing he chose was a set of Blood Shadow Sword technique, which was seized from a martial arts practitioner from Ronghua City who cultivated the shadow breathing method. Next, he picked the second-tier weapon, the blood-drinking sword, and the growth-type magic artifact, the 10,000 Soul Banner. Dongfang Jingxing's martial arts and immortal path qualifications are both top-notch, and he is about to formally start practicing martial arts. likely dual cultivation of both martial arts and magic in the future. You kid. Chun Sansi teased. Both of these items are heavy in slaughter. Are you sure you won't lose your mind in the future? I shouldn't. Dongfang Jingxing calmly said. Unlike the Tianshui Wanderer, our great Han will inevitably engage in warfare when we fight against Tianshui, and I can use the enemy army as firewood. I would never harm any innocent people. You have followed me since childhood, and I trust you have the capability to suppress the evil qi. Chun Sansi paused and added, Of course, I hope you won't disappoint me. Rest assured, Your Majesty. Dongfang Jingxing respectfully said, If little bamboo makes even a half-step mistake, I'll end myself and present my head. All right, have it your way. Chun Sansi stored all the items into the storage bag. He was not particularly interested in these things. Practicing deviant paths requires a lot of effort to avoid being negatively impacted, and he simply doesn't have the time for that. The rest of the spoils of war he collected during battles, he doesn't intend to retrieve unless under special circumstances. Whoever risked their lives for them deserves to keep them, and the same arrangement will follow for the upcoming 9 Nether Forbidden Land. But it's still the same issue. The court lacks resources, or rather, the Great Han's treasury is without resources. These items were gained by the soldiers risking their lives, and they rightfully belong to them. Over time, if these soldiers do not receive better resources, they will inevitably have other thoughts, such as human nature. What's more, the cultivators now in the newly built Skywall City are not Pyong brothers. Recalling the past, the Pyong brothers who came through life and death together were less troublesome. Where's the need for so much hassle? Putting aside his thoughts, Chun Sansi took out the Yama seal obtained from Zhang Sun Miao, and upon activating it with mana, the seal emitted a ghostly green light and levitated. The top few fierce beasts began to spew Een Soul Nether fire forward. He himself started to perform the Swallowing Fire divine skill, absorbing the Een Soul Nether fire into his body through the Dharma seal. The moment this fire burned, the flesh, bones, and meridians began to endure indescribable pain. Not merely searing heat, but rampant evil qi like countless insects gnawing at the body. Fortunately, the process did not last long. Over time, an additional flame appeared in Chun Sansi's dantian within the fire pool. One side was the orange-yellow 10,000 beast fierce fire. The other side the ghostly green Een Soul Nether fire, distinctly separated. Chun Sansi suddenly thought, perhaps the process of swallowing fire, where the body is repeatedly destroyed and then repaired, could be beneficial for tempering the body. He put away the Yama seal and then pulled out the storage bag containing the spiritual pet. When he used divine sense to probe inside, he found it empty. Chun Sansi reached in with his hand and pulled out a spiritual snake, completely white as jade, which was currently swallowing black cicada. Evidently, all the black cicada caught had been eaten by it. You! Chun Sansi quickly went to search again, eventually finding a survivor. However, he didn't have a way to raise it, because he could feel the black cicada was still marked and under the control of the black-robed cultivator, and once awakened it would certainly continue attacking him. To raise goo insects, one must capture the goo king. What a pity! Chun Sansi expressed his regret. He took out the purple thunder bow and set the goo insect on the bowstring. Boom! The bowstring released and the goo insect shot out, hitting the cave wall and exploding into a large hole. This goo insect's only drawback is its poor aim, but it can be used just like bow and arrow. Practically perfect compensation. I'll speak more about it when there's a chance. After checking the items, Chun Sansi put away the purple thunder bow and turned to look at the white jade spirit snake devouring the swallowing spirit stone. A sudden idea struck him, and he directly pulled it up and placed it on the bowstring. Hiss! White jade spirit snake was horrified, its cold and delicate body tightly coiled around the bow core, but it was no match for its owner's immense power, forcing it straight like an arrow. Still not enough. This snake of Chun Sansi is currently at the late stage of the first realm spirit aperture. Some distance from the second realm mysterious body, shooting it will have little power. He slowly released the bowstring and held the white snake in his hands. Cultivate well. If you're useless in the future, you'll just have to be dismantled for materials. The white snake clung tightly to the bow core, motionless. Buzz! At this moment, Dongfang Jingxing returned to the cave. Your Majesty, Shangguan Siheng and the others have arrived. Let them in. Chun Sansi got up to see the guests. Days ago at Luoxia Mountain, Shangguan Siheng led his subordinates to divert the Ronghua city lord, Jiang Shang, only now returning safely. All matters settled. Shangguan Siheng stated straightforwardly, our sect personnel have gone to a safe resting place, and the Skywall City disciples are temporarily unharmed. Besides, it was learned from him that Duan Silu and others successfully released a large number of furnace tripods from the brothel, quickly attracting the attention of Shangyun's sect, which properly settled these people. As for Duan Silu and the other 3 who were discovered while fleeing the city, all were killed on the spot. None survived. Chun Sansi said silently, Duan Taoist was quite a good man. In the demon-slaying sect, there is no shortage of such good men. Shangguan Siheng wasn't overly saddened but worriedly said, after this matter, there might be a calm for a while, but it won't last long. The city lord Jiangshang will definitely continue using this method to help the 7-killing sect expand disciples, and with preventive measures, it will be difficult to interfere again. Not sure what Taoist Xiao thinks, and how does the Eastern continent view this? There's only one point to break through. Chun Sansi informed, that is the main peak of the Grand Lake. We must try everything to avoid the Golden Core cultivators breaking the main peak's formation, and then control the Li family's transmission array. If we can hold the transmission array, the Han Dynasty court could dispatch more cultivators and troops to enter the Skywater continent. It's easier said than done. Not to mention the transmission array, the Golden Core cultivator living in the workshop is like an immovable mountain, fundamentally unshakable. Facing such situations, Chun Sansi, a general by training, knows that the only thing to do is to stay the course with unchanged strategy, waiting for the right timing while remaining still. Of course, waiting for the right time isn't sitting idly, during which preparations must be made, improving power on one hand, while finding ways to contact the transmission array. 5 years, Chun Sansi reflected, sounded long but, in reality, for cultivators, it's just a blink of an eye. He couldn't guarantee everything would proceed smoothly, hence needed to prepare for the worst, such as the court collapsing and society crumbling once the seal was broken, and where the court's core personnel should retreat. If all else fails, he could only hope for the Qingshu sect. Skywater continent is vast, even more magnificent than the Eastern continent. One needs to know that the Eastern continent isn't just the Han, West Qi, Nansu, Dongqing domains, but also many immeasurable great wilderness territories. According to classic records and stories, widely recognized righteous sects within Skywater continent total 36, also known as the 36 immortal sects. Among these 36 immortal sects, there are 24 golden core sects, 12 nascent soul upper sects, with 3 heavenly sects within the 12. Due to vast territories, though it sounds like they're within one continent, they often are separated by great distances, often crossing mountains and seas. Qingshu sect is one of the 24 golden core sects, naturally having a considerable amount of golden core cultivators. If willing to assist, conditions might greatly improve. It's just the token master left behind seemed to intentionally urge, only in absolute necessity, to visit Qingshu sect, making Chun Sansi unsure what attitude they would have upon seeing him. However, the Bai family seemed to have connections with Qingshu sect, previously mentioned by family master Bai Liangbi, that they've sent people to ask for help, not sure what the outcome will be. Shangguan Siheng spoke, in the coming years, I'll also try to see if there's a way to contact a golden core level senior to come here. Chun Sansi curiously asked, your sect has no communication with each other usually? Shangguan Siheng shook his head, informing about the state of the demon-slaying sect. Most demon-slaying sect disciples are in a free-range state, getting almost no support, whereas the unified forces head south to fight the demon clan and demon clan. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. Shangguan Siheng turned to leave, but turned back as something came to mind. By the way, does Taoist Xiao have any intention of joining our demon-slaying sect? There's no need for that. Chun Sansi politely declined. Xiao as a loose cultivator, accustomed to being a free spirit. This time the actions were merely due to having a feud with the Li family. All right. Shangguan Sihing nodded, said nothing more, and vanished immediately upon flying sword towards the sky. Next we should prepare for matters regarding the Jiao Forbidden Area. Chan Sansi instructed. Little Bamboo, you arrange another batch of people from Skywall City to enter Heavenly Water, same as before, awaiting orders. A short while ago, there was a disturbance in the Jiao Forbidden Area. It's uncertain whether there's great peril or fortune inside, but preparing in advance is always wise. The servant obeys. After making all the arrangements, Chun Sansi disguised himself as a young member of the Bai family, stepped onto the flying boat, and headed straight for Dusk Valley. When he was just a few miles away from the mountain gate, he sensed something was amiss. Outside Dusk Valley, a large number of cultivators were gathered. He estimated at least 500, mostly from the Demon Suppression Department, with the rest from Ronghua City. Members of the Bai family, regardless of age or gender, had gathered in front of the mountain gate, holding various weapons, ready for battle. Within the Demon Suppression Department, Zhao Sun, the 8th prince of the Song dynasty, sat astride a creature completely golden in color, resembling a fierce tiger with feathers like gold covering its surface. So, beneath its exterior is the true spiritual beast, unlike the exotic beasts found in ordinary mountain ranges, and its level has already reached the second realm, the profound body. The city lord of Ronghua City, Jiang Shang, spoke with murderous intent, his hands behind his back. Move aside! Jiang Shang. Family head by Liangbi pointed his finger at the other's nose, reprimanding. Dusk Valley is the territory of our Bai family. What right do you have to say such a thing? Do I need to repeat it? Jiang Shang narrowed his eyes. By order of the Song dynasty court and Shengyun sect, thoroughly investigate the robbery cultivators case at Luoxia Mountain. The leader is named Xiaofeng, who was once an alchemist tribute by your Bai family. We now suspect he is hiding in your Dusk Valley. This matter might even have been plotted by your Bai family. This is a heinous crime, punishable by extermination of the entire clan. If you wish to prove your innocence, open the path. After we search and confirm you are not involved, we will naturally leave. Zhao Sun. Bai Liangbi looked towards the 8th prince. You bully too much. Aren't you afraid of pushing us too far, leading to mutual destruction? Family head Bai. I also wish not to make things too difficult. Pulling on the reins, Zhao Sun added. Yet, public is public, private is private. If Dusk Valley remains obstinate, don't blame us for being merciless. Fine then. In Bai Liangbi's palm appeared a bamboo sword. Let me see how merciless you can be. At this tense moment, Bai Linshuan hurriedly arrived. Brother, don't be rash. It's just a matter of letting them search. If they find no one, they'll leave. There's no need to make a big scene. That's right, family head. They are numerous. If it comes to a fight. Coward, Bai Liangbi accused. If all in our Bai family are as cowardly as you, aren't we destined to let others trample on us in Beiyang Road in the future? Jiang Shang. Today, if you don't leave your blood on this spot, I, Bai Liangbi, am not worthy of being the Bai family master. Prepare to die. Boom. Before he finished speaking, Bai Liangbi was already wrapped in a gust of wind moving forward. The city lord Jiang Shang, unfazed, flicked his sleeve, and 36 pure gold flying knives swirled around him, then merged into one large blade. A second-tier high-grade magical weapon, the gold profound mother blade, one step away from becoming a magical treasure used by golden core cultivators. Judging by the power emitted, Bai Liangbi's bamboo sword was not weak either, remarkably, also a second-tier high-grade magical weapon. Its materials were mixed from various thousand-year spirit bamboos. Although of wood attribute, its sharpness was no less than any metallic magical tool. Upon first clash, heaven and earth trembled. Both retreated dozens of feet, prepared to continue the fight. Stop! At this moment, a stern shout rang from the sky. Following this, another group of cultivators appeared, flying swords in control. All wore pure white robes, with inconspicuous clouds embroidered on the surface. They were disciples of the Shangyun sect. The leader had sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes, his demeanor exuding a sharp presence. Beside him was the unassuming Wang Jun. Haha, so it's Taoist Zhang. Zhao Sun clasped his fists atop the mount's back. It's been a while. Zhang Jincheng only nodded slightly, then directly ignored him. Such actions caused the people from the Demon Suppression Department to be displeased. This Zhang Jincheng was a disciple of the second elder of the Shangyun sect, the best talent in this region, destined for golden core formation, and highly regarded by the sect. Even so, Zhao Sun is a prince of the Song dynasty court. Being of comparable status, even the sect master of the Shangyun sect would give some face, let alone just a disciple. This scoundrel, how utterly rude. A silver token commander was about to speak but was stopped by Zhao Sun. Taoist Zhang? Jiang Shang put away his life-bound magical artifact and accused. You arrived just in time. We are here on the orders of the upper sect to search for the escapee, yet the Bai family keeps obstructing us. They must be hiding something. Family head Bai. Zhang Jincheng directly approached the family head and said, Xiaofeng is involved with the Dongshan court, committing arson and robbery on Beiyang Road. This is a serious matter, and I hope you can cooperate. Heh. Bai Liangbi merely sneered. What? Zhang Jincheng's gaze became sharper as he intensified his tone. Is the Bai family looking to rebel? Humph. Bai Liangbi, seeing the aggressive Shangyun sect disciples, ultimately had no choice but to compromise. He waved his arm heavily, signaling everyone to step aside. The gate of Dusk Valley was completely unguarded before them, and numerous cultivators, including those from Shangyun sect, poured into the valley. Taoist Zhang. Bai Linxuan followed alongside them, explaining, The matter with Xiaofeng has nothing to do with us. He hasn't returned since he killed people and robbed pills at Shaozhu Peak years ago. Rest assured. Zhang Jincheng replied indifferently, Our Shangyun sect would never wrongfully accuse anyone. The Demon Suppression Department, along with people from Ronghua City, quickly turned Dusk Valley upside down, leaving only the Medicine Valley unchecked. Let's spare the Medicine Valley. The Bai family ancestor, Bai Shifeng, appeared at the valley entrance from nowhere, his clothing sleeve on his severed arm gently swaying in the breeze. Young Taoist Zhang. The Medicine Valley contains spirit plants intended for Master Lingyu of the Qingshu sect. These plants have spiritual nature and are extraordinarily delicate. The turbulence caused by intruders could easily lead to their death. I'll compensate you. Zhang Jincheng calmly uttered 2 words. What did you say? Bai Liangbi frowned. I said, if any accident befalls the spirit plants due to the search, I will take full responsibility. Zhang Jincheng said decisively. So, Elder Bai, please clear the path, or else I will have to be disrespectful. Zhang! Elder Bai was furious. Those plants are a rare find once in a millennium, and I've already told you, they're intended for Master Lingyu. Are you not giving any face at all? If she has any issues, she can come find me directly. Zhang Jincheng did not relent. A heavenly grade spiritual root combined with an innate sword bone. Bai Shifeng glanced at the young disciple, his hoarse voice slowly saying, truly a promising talent, and not just at golden core level, but at the nascent soul level. But young Taoist Zhang, I must remind you, it's not wise to be too ostentatious. It's not a good thing. No need for the elder's concern. Zhang Jincheng walked directly past the one-armed elder, leading the Shangyun sect disciples inside. You can't bring in so many people. Bai Linxuan hurriedly said, it will really disrupt the formation. Stop talking nonsense. Who knows if there are any ambushes inside? Move aside. No matter how the Bai family members tried to block them, it was useless. The Demon Suppression Department and Ronghua City, with as many as 100 people, were entering the valley one after another. Within the valley, spiritual energy was abundant, filled with birdsong and fragrant flowers. Low-level spirit plants were everywhere, presenting a vibrant scene. The Bai family's Medicine Valley was constructed in the most secluded part of the valley, with two spiritual beasts resembling leopards entwined with vines guarding the entrance. They roared at the vast crowd ahead, poised to attack instinctively. Clang! Zhang Jincheng paid them no heed and lifted his sword. The sword chi flashed, and the two spiritual beasts wailed as they fell to their deaths. Zhang Jincheng, isn't this going too far? Stop talking nonsense. It was your spiritual beasts attacking first, forcing our senior brother to act in self-defense. There was no further obstruction ahead, allowing the group to enter the interior of the Medicine Valley.